And we have the youngest checkmate on set.
Yay!
What's your name? Speak on the mic.
Mahua.
Wow.
What
That's
does
a
it
beautiful
mean?
name. What does it mean?
Flowers.
Yeah.
Be happy to do the work. Just be happy. Like, even with beekeeping, a lot of times we are waking up at 4 a.m., but I do it joyfully. And now that pays. Somehow, you enjoy your job. Have you ever seen, have you ever been to at the pub? The guy who does the drinks, you just see the guy is just happy to have people.
Yeah.
Just say, my G, how are you? It's good to see you. Hey, enjoy, you guys. You just want, the other one.
Unataka nini? Long Island.
You shifter ish. You'll figure it out.
How? So in how did you do it?
No, see.
There's a tap and a basin.
Yeah, there's a tap, there's a shower.
So what is the longest you went without taking a shower?
No, I mean every day, oh God.
Hey.
What is wrong with you guys? Because for sure. Maybe that day.
26. This is the Bagger Podcast.
This is the Brunch Club. Over 26.
Welcome back to
The mics are cool.
Now, when you watch it, you'll understand.
What up, my name is Chaxy V, Mastermind, your main guy V, Lord Chaxy. The beautiful Mariah is around, the amazing Mwass is around, the whole gang is around, episode 88, we are Church! And it goes without saying, JASON RUNO is in the building!
Yes,
Runo!
Who's Rono?
Uliambia Mariah, don't call him Rono, it's Runo.
JASON RUNO.
Yeah.
I said Rono.
Yeah.
Sawa.
Chebet is
JASON
gonna be on
RUNO.
the
I
show.
take back
That's your kuzo.
For everyone on Spotify, it's not Chebet Rono.
Yes.
Jason
Yeah,
Runo.
that's fine. Oh, and we have the youngest checkmate on
Ever.
set.
Yay!
What's your name? Speak on the mic.
Mahua.
Wow.
What
That's
does
a
it
beautiful
mean?
name. What does it mean?
Flowers.
Yeah! All right. What up, man? How are you?
Good.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is beautiful, bro. Literally the first guest who's come with a kid on set.
Yeah.
And the kid
wow.
is actually on set.
Yeah.
Yes.
And active.
And participating. With the microphone.
No, she was like, "Oh, Daddy." So I told her, we're going to record a podcast, and it became her podcast.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
She's like, she was just telling everyone, I'm going to record a podcast.
That's actually is recording the podcast.
She did lie.
So I'm happy to be here with my best friend, my daughter. My youngest child. She has a big brother. But yeah, this is.
Yeah.
So now, Mama, if you feel you want to contribute or say anything, just speak on the
That's
mic. That's fine.
Even if Daddy has refused to buy you chips and ice cream today, you tell him.
Just tell us.
We're going to correct it.
What are you guys up to before you came to the pod?
So yesterday we had BYYS.
Okay.
Because you said so. We sold out. It was an amazing show.
Congratulations.
Yes, and we're gonna go to that.
So today pretty much was just chilling. Our only plan was the podcast.
Nice. That's a fire plan. Does she understand what a podcast is?
I don't know, Mom.
Mama,
Yeah. Do you know what a podcast is?
Yeah.
Hey.
How would you define a podcast? What would you say it is?
Well,
This.
Yeah. So when you tell your friends tomorrow you recorded a podcast, if they ask you what it is, what will you tell them?
I don't know.
It's basically guys hanging out with a microphone and cameras.
Yes.
We just sit with microphones and talk. Adults are boring.
And
We buy all this equipment just to sit down and talk. Things you can do with a cup of tea.
literally. Man, I don't know how I feel about this beat tattoo on her forehead, man.
I think that is.
I love it, man.
You know, so
It's a catch.
so we share the same tattoo artist. So this is Eliamin.
Eliamin's work.
I've literally walked into Eli and then bumped into Jason. I'm like, oh, you're here as well. So we share the same tattoo artist. Yeah. Why the forehead, bro?
No, you know, I think the last 3 years have been crazy. And it wasn't actually a thing that I sat down to think about necessarily. I was just like, I actually want a bee tattoo on my head. Like, if I'm serious about this beekeeping.
The head is where it has to be.
I'm sure. Me, I'll never tattoo Mike check away.
It's all in the mind, bro.
It just felt natural.
But Ellie was
right.
hesitant, Sindio, I'm sure.
In fact, let me tell you, I had to get it redone because when Ellie did it, he did like a small one just so that in case I'm not sure.
So
later on I was like, no, I actually want
You made
this.
it bigger.
Yeah, I made it bigger. But I'll tell you what, this has been the best billboard ever. I'm so surprised.
No, what do you do? I'm a beekeeper. Let's see.
Even when like people call you for a meeting, you know you're there as the bee, specialist. And the minute you walk in, they're like,
Who you?
Chaxy unafaa kutattoo madem hapa.
Wow.
There's the emoji, the bat emoji.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Wow.
that one should sell enough.
Wow.
No way.
Yo, that's great. Like when they put the stencil, you looked at it and you said, "Go ahead."
Yeah, actually, Eliamin was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, because I know Ellie with face tattoos.
His
I
face
saw
very-
tattoo artists have a code. They never give you your first face tattoo. Like if you go there with 7, I mean,
Sour.
But the first one is always a conversation.
Yeah,
the
but,
first one is always like, "Are you sure?"
But I guess also I was in a point in my life where, I've been going through a lot of search in terms of the meaning of life. And I find that the true meaning of life is just to live a meaningful existence within yourself. It's for you to do things that make you happy.
Yeah.
It's not about what other people think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are raised to think about other people and then think of ourselves last. So I think getting the tattoo on my forehead was one of those things like it's something I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Doesn't have
what.
to make sense to
Anybody
anyone else.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. I'm self-employed. I don't have to explain to anyone.
Truly.
It doesn't affect my job in any way. I love bees more than, so I was like, why not?
Yeah. I want to talk about, I want to get back to just what you said, you finding what the meaning of life is to you and all the 10 lives you've lived. Because, dude, you've lived many lives.
That's a full life.
No, like so many lives. But before that, let me engage her a little bit because she's been holding the mic. Mama, would you ever get a tattoo?
Before I'm older.
Hey!
We've actually talked about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, you're such a cool dad.
No, she asks me a lot of questions, and I ask her.
Yeah. And tattoos are visible.
And
Like
I
your kids
ask her a
also
lot
know.
of questions also. You know, when I discovered the concept of kids, kids don't come for you to teach them anything. Kids come to teach you. Like I've learned so much about myself through her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's true. It's one thing they don't tell you about children. And children don't come from you, they come through you.
Truly.
Because they were going to come. Either way, they were going to be here. So...
They were going to come either way.
No, I mean, not like that. This is PG. Like, what I mean is, like, kids
gonna
come
be
to
here
teach you. It's not...
Vice versa.
Yeah, it's not vice versa. Because the person that you are, that's a person that you've always been since when you were a child. It's not like... You can only instill certain values, like hard work, like... like one thing my mom taught me, which I'm trying to pass on to my children, is the power of choice and consequence. So I tell this story and people always get shocked. My mom never, ever looked at my report forms. Form 1, sit here, we discuss your results.
That's all my mom ever did.
Yeah, it's because she wanted me to learn from very young. So she'd ask me, what do you want to do when you finish? You'd be like, I want to go to which university? And then she'd ask you, what grade do you need? I think a B- and above. And like, then get it. You know me, I know nobody. Yeah.
It's
all on you.
Yeah,
it's all on you.
Hard work
She'd ask me, do you have homework? Are you going to do it? Yes. If you don't do it,
You're
the one. Me, I won't be in class with you.
Did she
Ukichapa
ever
you're
need
being
to come
whooped,
to school for
really?
you being mischievous? Did she ever
No,
need to come to school?
never, ever.
And you were never mischievous?
No,
Never
I mean,
sent home?
even if I was, it was figure your way out.
Truly.
Yeah.
So when they say we need to see your parents,
The parents
My
will
mom
come.
never ever came to school.
hey, gangster, bro.
I think she only came to my high school and she was dropping me.
Wow.
But after that,
What?
ati
Amefanya kumekuwa.
because like our school, like we used to strike all the time, and she'd be like, in Q it's funny, I'd be like, she'd be like, oh no, Oka, like you've come home, yeah. Nemidi, is it midterm? I'm like, no, Nekogoma. No, next week, Nemidi. So like this is a strike, but next week is midterm.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Wake up.
No, it's okay. But
And strikes were cool
really,
because you never knew when you're going back to school.
Yeah,
You're
now-
waiting to be informed.
now when it was time to go back, she'd send me like with an uncle, like. But she'd be like,
she was this school
Very-
thing.
yeah.
yeah, it's your issue.
Yeah,
You had
deal
me.
with it,
I'm
yeah.
doing what I need to do as a
Learn
parent.
to deal with your own problems.
Facts.
And stuff like pocket money and stuff. Did you discuss it, Ama?
Like we discussed, but a lot of time, I remember a lot of times it was figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, most times.
What?
And a lot of these things, I got to finally understand them now. Literally
older.
now, when I'm older, I'm like, oh, that's what this was about.
So curious,
Okay.
your upbringing is what led you to do so many trisecs
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Life
'cause
is
your mom
what
was
you,
like, you
life
figure
is
it
what
out.
you make
Yeah.
it. And then, so like now, for example, when I finished a diploma in Daystar in communication, I got this opportunity to go to SA for acting school for a very short time. And my mom was like, here are the choices. You've never left the country. You could go to South Africa for this course. It could be a great experience for you. But nobody in Kenya at the time is looking for actors. So just know you'll come and probably be jobless. However, you could also go to campus, finish your degree, have a degree, and maybe
Get you something
possibly
proper.
get a job,
Yeah.
a good job and a proper job. The choice is up to you.
So this is
Yeah.
the reality.
It's a reality.
This is what this other thing could look like. Decide
You
what you
figure
want.
it
So
out.
now when I was like, okay, I think I want to go to SA. I'm like, okay. So when I went and then I came back, it's like, okay, now what do you want to do?
So this is how long? Just come in. That's our friend. Just come in. Yeah. So then, how long did this take? Like in South Africa, how long was
It
it?
was slightly under a year. But then now the good thing is that when I came
Can she
back,
get a seat? Kindly?
when I came back, KBC were looking for new anchors.
There we go.
And those days, like having a certificate in
looks so
acting for
beautiful,
film,
It was a big thing.
it was not a big thing. Like it was just unusual. Like nobody, like drama was a thing people did in music first.
Yeah.
Then you come and you
that's
say like I
that.
have this
Yeah,
certificate
yeah. I
have a degree in
for film
acting.
from outside the country.
Are you
These are like
normal?
what? I suspect that's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what possibly got them interested in. So I worked as a news anchor for a bit, sports news, which also was interesting because
Dude, but
I
you
have
don't
no
care
interest.
about sports though.
I don't care about sports. I used to read like it's just a story.
Yeah. So you used to act.
Honestly,
Arsenal have scored 2 points today.
I felt
Look at the
nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then now,
Where you didn't have options to do something else within.
no, I mean, you take what you get. So but I have to say, I also got a job during the day as a marketing manager for a cinema.
Wow.
So what used to happen is I'd work mchana in a cinema, and then jioni, I go read news.
Sports.
Interesting.
Yeah, sports news. So now I'd ingia the office, the studio at 9. Because my section is uko ma 9:17, ma 9:20 uko. Read the news, then like now after that, one day I cosanaed with my boss.
What
At
did you do?
KBC or
At
The cinema.
At the cinema. And on the same day, there was an advert for Jobo in the Gazette for cabin crew. I was like, how am I apply for this thing? I just applied.
You're living like random mode.
I just applied.
Yeah. Wait, but so you consulted with the boss, but they didn't fire you. You're still.
No, they didn't fire. But then now, so now I applied, went for interviews, and now the offer letter came. Now here again, I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Which airline is this?
So I went of course, my mom was my best friend, and so I went back to her and said, hey, mom, now
Kumekuwa.
another opportunity has come.
Then she tells you, so opportunity A.
So she told me now,
You
here
decide.
are the options. You could have a great corporate career,
Yes.
Yeah.
but you also know that moving from this to cabin crew is career suicide.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, this now you just know. But
And you always went with the choice that your mom didn't want.
for this, no, it's not that she didn't want.
Yeah.
It's for you to decide because
Yeah.
she'd say, she just give you the pros and cons.
Yeah.
This one is career suicide, but you get to travel the world.
Truly.
Okay.
This one, you'll have a great career,
But
but not a traveled person.
Yeah.
True.
At what age are you at this time?
24, 25.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So she's like, you decide.
Okay. Just before you continue, Mama, vanilla or strawberry?
Strawberry.
Okay, nice.
Why strawberry?
Because strawberries are my favorite.
I have tell you also why she chose strawberries.
Yeah.
She has one thing that she's been blessed with is green hands. Anything this girl touches, like to grow, flourishes.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Kinadeno
High
have
five.
seen the garden.
We should give her a sticker of Mike Check
gonna-
Podcast. Something. We should give her something from the pod.
So one of the
Yeah,
things that
that's
she's
big,
grown that
Yeah.
has, so we planted this strawberry plant. It was this small, and now it's like a whole tower.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
How
and
big is a
she-
strawberry plant? I'm curious.
It actually is. It's like
like a tree.
it spreads. It's like it's not. No, it just
Stays on the
like
ground.
tomatoes.
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So she's her favorite thing to grow. I think is strawberries. And what else do you like planting?
Blueberries.
Bamboo.
Strawberries.
And also, which tree did you plant? The one that's great for the planet? The one that you've planted and it's really good for the planet?
Bamboo.
Yeah.
Oh, bamboo.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so she's also planted a lot of bamboo.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
It's so sad we can't make adult jokes. Sasa kama hiyo. Like, Mviri would have been proud, you know what I mean?
No, you can make the jokes. You just have to be really smart about
No.
it. Yeah.
Like me, but Mviri is
Yeah.
proud.
Mviri is proud.
Mviri is
You know, when
proud.
she grows up, she'll watch this thing and she'll be like, Dad, how are you guys talking about this thing? This is not, it can't be right. But I think that's one thing she's been blessed with
Wow.
is green hands.
That's
Yeah, she loves planting trees and yeah, so strawberries. So that's why she'd choose strawberries over vanilla.
Okay. I just wanted to engage her. So so now you have choices here between cabin crew or returning a job.
Yeah.
So now it's either cabin crew or giving up 2 jobs,
Oh, wow.
which at the time in Kenya was
A big deal.
a big deal. Like you
had
have 2 jobs.
and a
How?
job offer at 24.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Wait.
So I was
I
like,
think you want to say something. Sorry, go
Where
ahead.
did you get that tattoo on your head?
at Elia Means. Why?
Westlands.
In Westlands.
Westlands.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is so much fun.
So now I was like, yeah, man. And now the school I went to in Primo was just behind the airport. And the whole time I'd always see like aeroplanes just taking off. And it was even before the wheels are retracted. Like it was that close to the airport. And then I remembered how the experience in South Africa for a couple of months changed me as a person. And I was like, I think I'd want to experience this
Full time.
Yeah.
like on another level.
Yeah.
And so I went to the cabin crew,
Wow.
which at the time was, it felt like a great decision. But now, when you start a few years later, your friends who you just joined corporate with, and they were junior people, you were both junior people.
Seniors.
Now you meet them in the Ndege and they're flying business class.
Oh, wow.
Going for business trips. They're like, oh my God, how are you doing? We were just going to a safe for meeting, you know, we have, because Q1 has been tough, you know.
Oh my God. I just remember tomorrow is Monday and we have to speak like
And
that.
then
Yeah,
you're like,
kind regards.
you're like, wow. So this is what it meant to make a bad decision.
And now you did this for around 8 years,
I
no?
did it for 8 years. Amazing experience. I highly recommend. There is no school like travel. There is, like, if you can, I encourage everyone to invest in travel. Travel to places where you don't speak the language. Travel to places that you've never heard of. Like, for example, you find, like, going to New York is great, but most things won't surprise you. Maybe just the culture of, experiencing it now intimately.
Yeah.
But I always give this analogy, like if you are blindfolded and put on a plane and you are unblindfolded in New York, you'll just know, this is New York.
Yeah.
But if you found yourself in a place like Dakar, you wouldn't know. But travel doesn't only teach you things about places, it also teaches you a lot about yourself. How resilient you can be. You never realize that until, like, there was once I went backpacking in Brazil. Funniest story ever. In the middle of so this crazy guy was driving from Nairobi to Brazil.
Someone was driving.
Yeah. So what happened is that he
Wait.
Lazima upande ferry at some point.
Like if I was to fly to Brazil, that would take me a whole day, right?
2 days probably.
2 days.
It's
That's
far.
flying.
Yeah,
so
that's
driving
flying.
is
It took him 7 months. So his idea
7 months.
Yeah. So his idea was to travel between in Nairobi and Rio, but make it just in time for the 2014 World Cup.
Oh wow.
So what happened is that I helped him with a lot of the logistics of that.
Yeah.
And trying to market the thing. So I helped him to get interviews on TV. And just as a gift of gratitude, he was like, so an airline has come on board as a sponsor. So choose a part of the world where you'd like to join me on this trip. Then I can give you the ticket. So like, I've never been to South America. So let me choose South America. So I went to Brazil, then drove all the way caught a bus to Bolivia. So I met him in Bolivia.
How far is it between?
It was like 48-hour bus ride. Now, so one day now, after we've driven with him in Brazil for so many days through the jungles, through what, also emotions, tukaanza kukosana. So now, one day in a burst of just rage, I told him, in fact, drop me in the next town.
Kwani mlikuwa mnakosana jua nini?
jamani,
Why did
no.
you get to that point?
No, it's just, that thing of personal space, you've been driving,
irritated.
you're irritable,
Yeah.
you possibly miss home. So like, dude, in fact, drop me in the next town. Now, let me tell you, the reality hit me when I saw those red lights. The brakes. The gari imeenda. Now I'm in a town. I think
Wait,
that
he actually
town
dropped you?
Yeah, he dropped me. I was like, "Sir,
I mean, he's a full-on adult, so what do I do?
And you just
You
had
guys-
a bag on you.
I was in a town called Jukurutu or something.
That's like
Interior in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I went to the bus station, and now I don't speak Portuguese. So I just met this, looking for a bus. Then I saw some guys sitting there. They looked like taxi drivers, and I went, I was like, "Hey, bus." So I asked them, "Oi, hotel." A guy looked at me. He pointed in a certain direction. He said, "Hotel, drogas." So it's like, that hotel is for drugs.
Oh.
Then
Whoa.
sijui another hotel, sijui crime, nini, policia.
Whoa.
So the guy took my bag, put it in the cab, closed the boot, and they said, "Hotel. So today you chill here."
Oh, wow.
No.
In the car.
Yeah, so we just sat there the whole night, just chapping.
So what stories?
Very broken stories. yeah, so because they don't speak English, I don't speak Portuguese. The guy was just there
It's like, douche, like.
so the whole time, it's like 3 guys. It was so funny. So we were like, there were like 3 or 4 guys, and we were just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then they turned like, Kenya football.
Not even running.
You're like,
I'm like,
How to
no, so now
abandon?
they're asking me like, because
You guys play
Brazilians
football,
are
yeah.
crazy.
About
football.
No, you don't understand it until you're there. So let me tell you, in Brazil, nobody knows if it's by design or by coincidence, but the World Cup falls on the same year as presidential elections.
Oh.
So what happens that how the team performs determines the elections.
What?
Yeah, even if you think back,
Yeah.
think when the lady president was just approaching the end of her term and wanted to run for another term, Brazil lost 7-1 to Germany.
Yeah.
She didn't even get anywhere near that
Yeah.
election. Yeah, so how the football team performs
Determines
determines
the
the election.
Damn.
Because I
the
think
mood
it's a
of the entire
reflection.
country.
Yeah, it's the mood of the entire
How long
country.
did it take you to go to Brazil?
Brazil, it didn't take me long, Mama, because I went with an aeroplane. But we were there for a couple of months, driving through.
At this time, I have questions like, are you making money? Like,
No.
randomly go to a
So
random
you're
country.
just spending.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't making money.
How are you surviving?
How this happened, it was just after I'd been fired from KQ. So I needed it. I needed the break.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity to go to Brazil came, I was like,
Why
I
then?
actually
Yeah.
need this. We had just done one BYYS, which was such a hit. So now it also gave me time to go and just reflect on like, what am I going back home to? And when I came back home, it was like, fresh start. This is the reality.
That's cool.
Yeah, sasa, kaende.
At any point were you scared?
No, never.
At all?
Never.
Even on your last dollar, you're like,
It's
Never.
whatever.
Never. I think one thing I've learned is not to have fear. It's a thing I've taught myself because fear clouds judgment. Fear, and you notice naturally, like human beings, a lot of times when you travel, people teach you about the negative sides of people, but when you travel, you actually experience the opposite. Like there were times in where were we? We were in Salvador, which is predominantly black. It's like Bahia is like it's like another African country. And the one thing you learn very quickly when you get to Brazil, I think they don't get to interact with a lot of Africans, but they have a huge African history. Because 7 times the number of slaves that went to Stato were taken to Brazil.
Yeah.
So there are places where everybody's black. You wouldn't feel like you're in, like in South America.
Yeah.
So when guys are like, Kenya, nice. Kenya, Africa. And then everybody just wants to embrace you. Everybody's happy to have you, you know. So even there's a time like I was looking for accommodation. I was just at my backpack. It's time for the World Cup, so there are no hotels. In the favela, just a cabane, just like this on the window. You're like, oi.
No.
Yeah, don't be come. Moved her toys from the bedroom. Told them now to rearrange. Now we have mgeni. And in the morning, I was picking one for chai and told cheers. Didn't ask me for anything. Yeah. You'll be so surprised. People are naturally kind to travelers. Yeah. Even it's like when you meet a random Jungu is lost in Alchemist, your first thing is not to get her.
First thing is Mangi's first thing is Amoli.
But you'll be so surprised. I'm not saying be careless when you travel. I'm not saying do not have money when you travel. Yeah. But like my friend has been pickpocketed in Italy. And she called me and I'm like, now you've been pickpocketed. I can't help. Yeah. I'm here. Like there's nothing, honestly, I can do for you. Because even if I deposit money in your account,
how will you get it?
Yeah. So it's up to you to figure it out. And that's now where the growth comes. It's even trying to figure out where do I get a meal. And that time you're somewhere like say in Vietnam. You don't speak the language. But you know, you come back and you realize you've changed. So there's something Mandela said that there's nothing as beautiful as leaving home and coming back, not to realize how much the place has changed, but also how much you have changed as a person. Yeah.
But I'm still surprised. You went for months and you only had a backpack. Maybe for a week I need 2 suitcases.
Bro.
Backpacking is I can get drift.
I'm like genuinely, I'm just concerned. So you had how many t-shirts? I'm assuming you just have...
But then also, so my theory about travel is this. Yeah. In the country that you're going to, they're definitely poor people. So they get by with very little. You'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
then
the laundry
kuna duka huko. There are shops for sure.
Hawezi kosa ngoda na
hawezi kosa ngoda, t-shirt, hawezi kosa.
How do you guys do laundry then on the road?
You'll figure it out.
How?
So how did you do it?
No, see.
There's a tap and a basin.
Yeah, there's a tap, there's a shower. Like you.
So what is the longest you went without taking a shower?
No, I mean every day, oh God.
Hey.
Wangi.
What is wrong with you guys?
Because for sure. Maybe like that day. Maybe that day I slept in the bus station. Maybe that day I didn't, oh God. But when I got to where I was going, but luckily for me also, there's a guy who went to my high school in Shags. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Very interesting guy. This guy is from Shags Kabisa. Speaks hella broken English, at least when we were in high school. So immediately after high school, he got a scholarship and went to where? Brazil for uni. So at the time I was going, he had just come back. So now, anytime like I was lost or something, I'd voice note him. Where? Because now his Portuguese and his Spanish is so good. Yeah. His English not so great.
Still.
No, I mean now it's improved, I'm sure. Yeah. So I'd call him, like, where, bro, ambia mtu natafuta tu place ya kuoga. Like, then you play the guy with voice note. See. Then,
this is before Google Translate.
Yeah.
Because now you can just get it translated and have a conversation with somebody.
It was there, but it wasn't like...
as proper.
It wasn't like very proper. It would like give you...
This is before Wi-Fi, before everything, Ama?
No, there was Wi-Fi. Dude, it's...
Wi-Fi
it's not 1950.
It's not 1950. It's not independent.
Wi-Fi when did Wi-Fi come into this one? 10 years ago.
I went on a plane. I didn't go there on a ship.
Oh.
Yeah, like...
7 months. Me, I'm still worried about the financial bit because I've been in Rwanda with 2K on my name and I was dying. Like literally, like I was.
But did you die?
Every single cent.
But did you die? You're here.
But I was.
You figured it out,
By
right?
the time I paid for my bus to come back to Nairobi.
But that's a growth process.
Nilifika town so.
That's part of
Which was enough to get you home.
Yeah.
That's part of the growth process.
But I
What
can
did that
imagine
experience?
If that was me in Rwanda, so imagine across the ocean.
Yeah, but
Same
what
difference,
did
though. It's a
that
different
what did that
country.
process teach you
That
about yourself?
I can skip meals.
But you learned something.
I learned that 3 meals a
Intermittent
day is
fasting is not so bad.
3 meals a day is the luxury.
and I learned that I could really walk. Hey, at a border 50 bob, you're like, how far is it? 2 kilometers.
I
Hey.
But you see, you remember that experience.
Yeah,
Truly,
all
yeah.
of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I highly recommend travel. It doesn't have to be like far and exotic, but
Yeah.
even just like you're
Just
saying,
travel.
go to
We'll do a challenge with
Rwanda,
Chaxy.
go
We'll do a
to
challenge, Chaxy.
Uganda.
go to
If you're doing a Euro trip
Uganda,
next
go
time,
to
carry one bag.
Ethiopia.
Nah, not
Yeah,
happening.
just go to these places. Experiences. Actually, life is about experiences.
Yeah.
Life is just about experiences. I always tell I want to be the coolest granddad. You know, tell stories from all over.
That's your KPI.
That's my KPI. That's my KPI.
Coolest guy.
They're like, yo, bro, come, I tell you. Did I tell you about that time I was in Brazil? Guka, you're lying. I had no money. But Guka, how did you survive? Wisdom. That's why you must always listen to me.
At any point, did you
Love
have to
it.
do any odd job?
No, surprisingly.
How did you
no.
make money? Like how?
Because now
how
it's time to go home. If he gets there, now it's time to
And
go
you
home.
also learn to live within your means.
did you know when you're coming back home?
Now I had an open ticket. And now that was the most reassuring thing. That worst case scenario.
You just come back
I
home.
just find the nearest airport,
Boom.
find my way to Sao Paulo, and
You're out.
Yeah,
back
about.
home, yeah. So that's a good thing because if you didn't have that,
Yeah.
then now you
Yeah,
end up
'cause remember
with
the ticket was
jobs, trying to
sponsored.
raise money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you have a means of going home,
Ni
if
kuenda.
that
Manage.
comes to us,
but
back
let
home.
me tell you, in your lifetime, please go to Brazil.
Who Rio?
because of the
me?
women?
Me, I have a reason.
You know
I
what's
don't-
taking you there.
Not necessarily. It's a factor, but not necessarily, because I think they have work-life balance figured out. So, like, for example, I saw things like people dancing in malls at the square. You know, like there was a time with one of a friend I made, and they're like, we go today market. I'm like, okay, fine. So tukazunguka market, 3 p.m. market inafungwa. So I'm like, why are these guys closing? Like literally sitting down. Unajua kama gig imeisha when those guys have their cables.
Yeah.
So guys were sitting down. I was like,
football.
hey, this is so early for market day to close. Kumbe guys were just making space to dance. And not that they have a system.
Everyone is dancing?
It's chupas. Ching, 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 ching.
No way.
Yeah.
That's fire, bro.
Like I found like people would have, like when they're having like a beer, they'd have one bottle and then they share. Mpaka ishe, unaleta ingine. You know, mimi nilienda huko na kierere yetu ya Kenya.
Chafua meza.
Patia
Mbili, mbili.
Yeah, guys are like, bro,
Calm
relax.
down.
Calm down.
How big is the beer?
Wow.
No, it
also
doesn't matter the size, but
Standard size.
that's how they.
culture.
That's
You
the
know,
culture.
Brazilians have beers that are like even 40% alcohol, bro.
That's not a beer.
But
No, they're beers. And if you don't know, you'd go ordering beers because we're used to normal
Any
beers.
easy
So
question.
one beer
There's
down,
no
bro, one
way.
beer down, you are knackered a good one. It's true. You have-
That is crazy.
But yeah, but it was just like an interesting how also their food is very African.
Is it?
Very.
even the
Very,
women are very,
Whereby?
the women are very
African.
African, you know. Very African.
Mommy, are you bored?
Do you have a question for any of us?
You want to take a walk? Okay. Go ahead.
So
Give me
feel
the
free.
microphone.
So you can leave set. Then if you wanna come back, you can come back. Feel free. Say hi to Kerubo, the beautiful lady who walked in.
And your hair matches her outfit.
Yeah.
That's fire.
So now, so you're in Brazil, and you mentioned this is after the first BYYS.
Can I use 2 mics
Yeah.
for politician?
So
So the thing is, I have to tell you this about BYYS. The initial idea of BYYS was never to make it a thing. It was just gonna be one show.
That's that.
We laugh and watu endelee na maisha.
Okay.
But for some reason, the first show sold out. So the first show sold out.
Yeah.
Hey.
Muranga jumped out real quick.
Muranga, Kirinyaga, Nyandarua,
Kisumu.
even Kisumu. Yeah.
The first show sold out.
Yeah.
And there was still a lot of people outside. So, you have to do this show again.
Where
So,
is this? Where did you host
Michael
it?
Joseph Center.
So small venue.
Small
You couldn't get in
venue.
more
It
people.
was on a Thursday. So now guys were like, you have to do this show again. So now we did the second one. Now those people who made it for the first one talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
And after that, now when we did the third one, now guys were like, okay, yeah.
It has
a
to
thing.
become a
It
thing.
has to be every other
This
month.
looks like, yeah. So that taught me it's just important. The most important thing is just to start.
How did the name come about?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of
It was more of, if you've been to the show, the audience have so much power.
yeah.
So that's why it's called Because You Said So.
Okay.
Yeah, the audience can send you to, if you make a joke that doesn't shika,
Yeah,
they send you to the naughty chair.
Yeah.
They're like, go sit there on the stool, think about your jokes.
Then come back.
So that I think that's how the name came about.
Okay.
So now the first one happens, then there's the Brazil thing, then it's time to come back home.
Yeah.
Then you at the time you know that you're gonna do a second one or not yet.
Now,
So what are you doing? Because you're out of a job as
now
well.
that was part of the plan. I was like, okay, now since nothing else has worked, but this show seems like it had
Kicking
something.
off, yeah.
Yeah, so we might as well now come and make it a thing.
Yeah.
What is that? Were you paying rent back in Nairobi? I'm
Oh,
still
sorry,
so
Mama.
curious.
So just don't cross in front of the cameras, those two, because they're recording the footage. Yes. But you can dance around.
You can sit there
Anywhere
actually.
else? Yeah.
I know she's just like, these kids are just gonna sit
Sit
down
there,
and not
yeah,
do anything.
At
Just talk.
dance, at Wimby,
No
and we're
dance,
just
nothing.
sitting.
We're not drumming, but you're talking about drumming. Nothing.
Lord.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
What is the question?
So the question was, so the Brazil trip ends. You've had success with one show. You're out of a job.
Yeah.
So is this when it downs on you? Okay, because you have time now.
So now when I came back is when now I had to make structural adjustments. Move to a smaller house. So I was trying many things. I had a flower business. So it was so funny. I had this business.
What was it called?
It was called Get Maua. Getmaua.com.
Yeah.
So I used to sit at a mall. I used to sit at a mall with a laptop. And then I'd made this website, or rather my friend had helped me. So actually now that brings me to another point.
Do you
Sometimes,
want to come back on set?
Just
come. Just walk in. Yeah.
sometimes your friends don't need to support you with money.
Yeah.
They just need to support you with skills. And that's one thing I picked from my friend. So even like, for example, these days, if my friend is getting married or something, I never give money. But I'll say, for example, MC for them.
Okay.
So I'll share a skill.
Yeah.
So my friend was gracious enough to just build a website for me. And now when he built the website, people would order flowers. I'd order from the flower shop and call my Boda guy. "Well, kuja upeleke maua."
So you're just a broker.
So
I was just a broker,
then
yeah.
you
So that
put
really
your
helps.
margin.
That really helped to, figure out life kidogo, be able to pay some bills, rent, nini. And also my love for flowers. Now, what amazes me is how things eventually always make sense. Because now that was in 2014, but see how in 2020, 6 years later, beekeeping came into my life.
Flowers, bees.
Yeah, so it's everything. Somehow you must trust that things will make sense eventually.
All
At
these
some
things
point.
you've done, like the improv, the TV, the aeroplane, the
Flower
flowers,
business.
the bees. Do you ever think about them growing up? You just
No.
on impulse too?
No, on impulse. I've even sold nyama.
No.
Yeah.
Then you're also a corporate MC.
I'm a corporate MC.
But you're nice though. Like literally, there's a time I was really thinking about doing corporate MCing, and I reached out to Jason. I was like, "Yo, so
How do I go about
there's
it?
people who've asked if I could do this. How do I even charge?" And he was gracious. I was like, "So I'm gonna send you my profile with the red card.
Do what
Keep
you
it
gotta
confidential,
do.
then figure it out from there." And he did actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you must just be willing to jump into the pool. I think sometimes we are taught to overthink things and things in order.
Yeah.
You'll only know when you start.
Which begs the question, what did you want to be when you grew up? When you were a
Everything.
kid? So you're living your dream.
Everything. Yeah. What point? And no disrespect or offense to anyone who has a long-term career. Some people are born for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, there's just so much
a
to do
lot.
and experience in this life. Why would I want
Confine
to
yourself to one thing.
confine myself to one thing?
Yeah.
Like, say I've been flying for 20 years, or like I feel like, and that's why a lot of people rediscover themselves after retirement.
What was your school called?
Mommy, I thought
Uno reverse. Jibu swali.
my high school.
I just love how she pops up with questions.
My high school was called Gaishanjiro High School in Muranga.
Were you guys actually studying? Like, was there actual...
No, masomo was a co-curricular activity.
Wow.
Football
So what was the
and
main
chores.
business in school? What do you guys do?
Bullying.
Surviving.
How bad were you in math? Someone told me you're really bad in math.
Terrible.
Oh, damn.
How bad?
Terrible. So, you know,
Like
okay,
ease.
luckily for me, thanks to having the parent that I had, I was freed to love the things that I love.
Yeah.
You know, like my mom would never tell me, you know, maths is important, she'll help, you know. Just do the things you love.
Yeah.
So, geography, history, CRE, surprisingly, and those were my strong points. So I'd focus on those.
Surprising.
So for Jason, it just ended at 1 + 1 is 2 makes sense.
Let me
6
tell you.
times 4 and some are too complicated.
Honestly, like in school, I was just like, chemistry, I was just like,
Vibes. Mole concept. Zero.
I would like to. Chemistry papers.
I honestly
I used to
didn't
look at
care.
them just like this. Like 12 minutes into the exam, I'm done.
I used to, like,
And I have 1 hour,
what's the
48
point?
minutes.
gosh.
What's the point? And I think that's what we should encourage kids. Do the things that you love. Because when you love something, it pays you somehow, just for the love of it. So like, I was those guys, chemistry practical.
Mole. Zero.
I'd be there doing my thing. I'm following instructions to the T. Then my test tube has the thingy is pink.
Titration.
It's pink, and I look back, everybody's blue. I'm like, damn it, screw this. Screw this. Like, I was always that student who the chair would pick up my paper and be like, boys, please read the questions carefully.
Some of you are doing your own exam.
But not to say that I was in the tail end of the class. I was always an average student.
Okay.
Because geography, I always passed.
But if you're average, then...
Unamtuko
You know,
Gaishanjiro.
so, just for context, Mwangi went to GP cutting yesterday. Out of 3 guys who
4.
finished, he was third. So he was on the podium.
But
second last.
Out of 7 of us, 4 crashed.
4 crashed, so 3 finished. So he was on the podium because he was top 3, but he was out of 3. So
no, actually, I got number 4, but number 4 was disqualified.
the guys who finished were 3, and he was third. So he was still on the podium, but
I was a second slower than the first guy. 2 seconds.
but still that.
Which in motorsport
But you
is
know
a
what?
lot.
In the honest sense, and this is what I believe.
Yeah.
Did you do your best? Yeah. That's all that should
Finyo
Very
Gary.
honest.
Hey!
no,
I gave it my best.
that's all that should
One
matter.
touch.
Weight to
Yeah.
power ratio was against me. Kwanza, you
No,
know,
because that's truly all that should matter. Because
Yeah.
if you did your best,
That's it.
yeah.
if your best
There's
got you
nothing
last,
else to do.
Here's the thing.
what else was there to do?
Yani ushaifinya gari mpaka karibu utoboe. And it's a straight stretch. And remember, all these cars are the same, but someone is overtaking you.
Na bado umekuwa number last.
Imagine.
All these cars are the same. I love someone who go to Kwanza they asked us, like, you know, every time I've done like a life-challenging thingy, they always
No, wait, GP cutting is a life challenge.
Imagine.
It's not easy.
No, but it's not life challenging.
Half
bro.
of the people crashed.
Accelerator brake. Accelerator.
It's not life challenging.
Sawa, you know what? We'll go. That's all I'm saying. So
Me, I'm
they were
calling
like,
dibs on last. I can't drive.
No, it's fine. We get it. It's fine. But at least you'll have cars to crash.
The
not our
only
cars.
thing, if you're last, be proud of your last.
Really? Nisha own. Nata tujaenda.
I was on the
Be proud
podium.
of it.
Chilling on the podium.
Giving the medals.
Wangetuwekea 1, 2, 3. I'd have been there like with my champagne. So the thing is, they told us, and it's really crazy. So everyone is there, and then they're like, single engine, nyinyi. Wewe double engine. And then they tell me, if you're
Why
above,
double engine?
if you're above 75 kilos,
Yeah.
you get a bigger engine.
And you still
And
were
then all my
last.
friends were like, even us, you want bigger engines.
Yeah, because
And a bigger engine is 1,000 bob more. So we all got double engines.
they thought to
Yeah.
have
Now if I have more power,
for
yeah.
sure you have more power.
Same thing, even when I was skydiving, they weighed me. Because they're like, if you're above 100 kilos, we can't let you go on one parachute.
Huh?
Yeah?
I'm joking.
Hey, I was like,
But
whoa.
yeah, they don't allow people above 100 kilos to jump. Yeah. Even when
So
I had
guys
food
are-
poisoning, my friend was given 1 drip, alafu me was given 2. And then, you know, it was in Costo, and Costo doctors, I don't think they have chill. Wako like, ule mnene mpe mbili. So me, I'm saying, all my friends, because we all ate at the same place, they're getting a 500cc drip, and then mine are 2 of them. I'm like, it works. I mean, the science makes sense.
Nah, man.
Honey, are you bored?
Are you bored again?
She has another random question.
No?
We have a
Do you have
question?
a question?
Okay, I have a question for you. What's your favorite phone game? Like, what game do you play on the phone? What games?
On your tablets.
On your tablet, oh, sorry. She was playing something on your phone. Yeah.
Baby bus.
Baby bus.
Baby bus.
What happens on baby bus? You drive a bus? What happens? It's like a tiny bus.
Tell us
What
about
is
Baby
it?
Bus, honey.
It has a lot of games.
Oh.
Like you can play games. Even some cartoons on it.
Mm.
Do the cartoons have the same outfit or they change clothes?
Does it have activities?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about Baby Bus. But I found that her mom does know a lot about Baby Bus. But I found that she learns a lot from it.
Nice.
Like today she was telling me about an earthquake. And she learned about it on Baby
On
Bus.
Baby Bus.
No way.
I didn't even know what an earthquake was until I was in high school.
Me too.
Tell me about
I
an
swear.
earthquake. What happens in an earthquake?
Just hold your mic closer to your mouth so we can hear you. Okay, there you go.
Earthquakes. You hide under the desk or under the bed.
So like in case an earthquake happens, like what to do?
I didn't know.
Duck for cover. That's smart, girl.
Unless the
We are here for knowledge.
Unless the table is glass, then that would be crazy. Yeah, I learned what an earthquake was when I was in high school. I literally never knew about it.
Wow,
I
Mwangi.
swear,
Wow.
no one told me about it. I never came across
But it makes sense. If you take maximum 12 minutes to go through an exam paper, it makes sense. You didn't know much. You didn't know much. Hey, in 12 minutes,
I don't know much.
I've answered everything I know, which is one question. It's done.
I used to stand next to my best friend Simon in like physics lab to do experiments. Everything he does, I do. Like when he touches something like this, I'm like, when he lifts it, the pendulum, Emilia used to swing it. If he does this, okay, Chilia even me.
Dude, you did
But
physics and you knew
when it
zero.
came down
That
to
is
writing
wild.
what he's done, I'm like, shit.
But I liked physics because of one thing. Because it was a lot of logic.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Science generally applies.
No, not chemistry.
Chemistry was...
Chemistry is numbers
chemistry,
and
no.
Even
letters.
biology was weird.
Interesting.
That's why I drew the line.
Tulifika mall concept wakaniacha hapo.
But physics was
Gita,
hard.
I mean, if a car is coming in this direction at 25 km per hour,
Yeah.
and it's stopped by a rock that is, gee, how many? Then you're like, you can see it.
Yeah, hakuna kitu kama
Gari
hiyo.
ndio hii.
And the speed of wind.
Mawe ndio hii. Sasa chemistry unaambiwa sijui helium plus.
Yeah, what? It makes sense.
No, chemistry was
It
not
does make sense. I think the difference is you probably can't see a lot of the things you're working with, but it does make sense.
Hapana.
Science applies logic.
Physics
Simple.
is dumb. I dropped this rock and calculate the gravity. Bro, it fell. Stop asking me questions. Like,
Alafu bado, those questions for 50 kgs of feathers and 50 kgs of rocks.
it's the same, but okay, this glass dropped. Calculate, dude. Imeanguka. Why do I need to calculate?
Like genuinely, I remember there's a classmate of mine when we used to have the double desks who was convinced. She was like, "There's no way feathers and rocks would be the same." I'm like, but they're 50 kgs each. So it means maybe there's just a lot of feathers to make 50 kgs. But I'm like, no, but feathers are light.
That's all kind of dumb.
Where is he right now in life? I hope he's not like having a butchery.
He's
Oh
a
my
politician, so
God.
it makes
Of course.
sense. He's fine. Yeah, he's in the right
Ako
career.
sawa.
Mtaji akili mingi hapo.
Mahua, you can go take a walk outside if you want.
Maybe it's a bit.
or the main
like,
studio.
Yeah, I got to like this
Mahua,
guys are still talking.
If you go to the main studio now,
Oh, you can play the
there's
piano.
there's a lady called Nikita. She's an amazing singer. Just say Chaxy sent me. She'll take care of you. All right.
Or someone can take her if you don't mind.
So then you come back. Sorry. So back. Let's
digress.
circle
We
back.
digress.
Yeah. So I think we're at the point of BYYS now. So BYYS is now coming into the picture.
Yeah.
And you don't have much to do, so you've decided Kaende.
Why not?
Yes. So for context, anyone who doesn't know what BYYS is, how do you describe what that is?
Well, BYYS simply stands for Because You Said So. It's an improv comedy show. So basically, the show is not scripted. Everything that happens on stage is an experience that has been built by both the audience and the cast members. Say, for example, we could come up with a scene and we ask the audience for a name. So like there's a game we play called like Boom Shake. Boom Shake is basically the audience give us a name and the cast members have to come up with a rap song that rhymes with the name.
On the spot.
And it has to make sense on the spot. And if you fail, they send you to the naughty corner. Segments are thrown at you. Like yesterday, we had one. It was so funny.
Which is sold out as well.
Yeah.
Fire.
Oh shit! Guess who's FaceTiming me? Because he's in Canada. We just talked about him.
Oh.
Just telling me on set.
Who that?
Ellie.
Oh.
No way.
My brother. How come it's not? Is it recording there? Is it? Oh, hold up. We good? Da. Okay, easy. Anyway, I'm on set. Guess who I'm on set with? I'll FaceTime you when we're done recording. How? Manze, nimeona say what? Make sure that Kimathi is on those walls. I'll FaceTime you. Let me call you back because we are recording. So I'll hit you up.
Nimesalimika kaka.
I'll bless you. I'll call you back.
Ellie's
in Canada. He's opening his new branch in Canada. So that's what he was showing.
Hey.
Nice.
That's really dope.
Oh, you see what tattoos on the face can do for you?
It did though.
Because since he did this one, things have just opened up for him.
Wow.
Illumination.
Love it.
Anyway, BYYS, I think that's where we were.
Yeah, so it's basically an experience we build with the audience and the cast alike. So when the show, we never know how it's gonna end up. We don't know how it's gonna. Nobody knows. Yeah. But 100% of the time, usually, of course, kuna shows imehata, but the audience also understand.
Yeah,
it was just
because it's improv.
It was a bad day. At the
You were
end.
telling us about a segment that you guys just did yesterday.
Oh, I was just thinking of maybe one of the segments we did. Or things you can say. Things hawkers say that would sound great in the bedroom.
Ooh, Bear Johnny.
Yeah, and so it forces guys to think like on their feet, like chap. Yeah.
Okay.
Like on the very, very first show, we were trying to imagine when presidents meet. You know, the guy shook out from the Ndege. When now they salimiana, what do they say to each other? So it's up to the cast to think of ideas like,
That's fine.
On the spot to
really
make
dope.
people
so
laugh.
everything.
That's
So this year, for the first time, I got to experience it as an audience member.
Oh, you were not on stage?
I took a break a
Okay.
bit. You know,
Even last night?
no, last night I was on stage, I was hosting, but some months back I'd taken a break. And I realized the beauty of BYYS is that also the audience, when we throw a segment, they're also trying to think of ideas. The perception that we have all the time when you're on stage is that people are like, Oguna, wow us.
Entertainers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But once you learn that, and this is for anybody who's ever doing anything on stage, be it emceeing, whatever, if you're ever on stage,
Even tracking.
always remember, always remember the audience is always rooting for you because they didn't pay money to get bored.
Yeah.
So they always really want you to win.
To do a good show. So
Give
they
your
Yeah. So when you have that freedom of, okay, a lot of times we just think people are there to like, able to one.
Melipa 2.5.
Chekeshe.
Nichekeshe. No, it's never like that. It's audience actually.
Hakuna
always-
comedy hapo at all.
So now-
mtu mmoja ama mbili. Haters.
But no comedy.
So now when the segment
Hakuna content.
when the segment is called out and the audience are also trying to think in their head, and then they see like the cast member come up with a brilliant idea, then they really appreciate it. Because sometimes as an audience, you're like, hey, and I'm so blank.
Yeah.
And then someone comes on stage and does something so fire. You're
Off
like,
the mark.
wow.
It's really impressive, honestly.
You're like,
It's
wow.
very impressive.
Truly.
Like I've had a very good time at OhKay.
And this is
Once
our
I've attended,
9th year, believe this.
That is crazy, bro.
Next year we're doing 10.
This is the
All
this
because
is,
of-
this is the only consistent thing you've done in your life so far.
Yeah, because
Because it's
Yeah.
picked and
The
dropped
airline,
everything
you're there
else
for
along
long
the
Because
way.
my whole life is improv.
Fine.
Wow.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Wow.
So it comes easy for you.
So you guys never do any rehearsals? Are there meetings before mnambiana tupatane show?
We meet.
Yeah.
We meet the night before the show
Okay.
or the week of the show,
Okay.
but it's not necessarily to discuss anything. So I'll confess this. The very second show, remember the first one we did? Then there was, due to public demand, we tried to do the exact same segments. And what happened is that show was bad.
Oh, because you were
It wasn't great because people were trying to remember, they were not being creative.
Okay.
People are not, you're not trying. So you're like, and then now imagine what it does to you, like jana, watu walicheka wakakufa, then all of a sudden you've done the same joke and you're like,
Comedies, bro. Comedy can be very mean.
Truly.
Because you know the thing with music, bro. Guys may not really enjoy the performance, but they'll nod to the beat. There's something to
like
make
Yeah,
them
guys will
move.
vibe. at
But
some
comedy,
certain
when
point.
you're just speaking to people, and you can tell by their faces,
They're
not impressed. Wanashindwa bado.
No, but you
Bado
know-
unaongea. Unajua wao mpiga punchline na ija hit home. So guys are still looking at you, expecting
Like-
more to
And then
come.
you
And
say,
you are done, bro.
but this is what improv teaches you.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the naughty chair. That you must be okay with failing. That you go up, you're stepping up with an idea that you don't know if it's
gonna work or
going to
not.
work or not.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. That's what makes a great improv artist. And I think that's a lesson that should also apply in life. Nothing you do has a guarantee. Like when you guys started, was there a guarantee? Was there?
Nothing.
There was nothing. But
I want
you,
to teach Mwass that lesson. Say it again.
yeah,
Mwass.
there's no guarantee. And I think
Yeah,
because of being brought up like in getting into corporate culture, you know, there's spreadsheets, there's a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan.
Yeah.
But the reality is it could fail.
just never know.
And if you're okay with that, it frees you. It frees you to actually do it even more without fear. You know, like you do it with your chest. Like,
Truly.
yeah, let's do this thing. If you fail, it fails.
Lazima iwak.
But now the problem is if you tell yourself it has to work and it doesn't, it damages you.
Yeah.
It does something to you. Yeah, but when you approach anything in life with even relationships, even with, because now you're there. Actually, now because in a relationship you have to marry
has
me.
to work,
Yeah,
it
it
has
has
to-
to work.
yeah.
It doesn't have to. Like who?
Who said?
Yeah, who said?
Who told you?
Who told you?
Who told you lazima iwaje?
Yeah, it doesn't.
When it comes together.
It could fail.
Yeah.
It's a possibility that it could fail,
Yeah.
but also there's a possibility it could work.
True, yeah. I think just keeping an open mind.
Keeping an open mind.
But you know that
Exactly.
so what's your safety level like whenever you do any of these things? Like for sure, no backup plan, no nothing.
Not some
What do you do to feel safe?
nothing.
You've just been told
Mwani doesn't understand.
open-mindedness,
Yeah, I know.
bro.
Like,
The only
Open-mindedness,
thing-
open,
Where look at you?
No.
Open.
I take that back. The only thing I do to feel safe is that I do my best.
Okay,
Yeah, that's it.
but that's part of the plan.
Love that.
Yeah, because what happens that if I fail, I can sleep properly.
yeah, because you know.
Yeah,
you-
like
You
now.
gave it 100.
Let me tell you, like, today you can't convince me to fungua nyama business. I can't. Like there is nothing you can say
That
to
would
me
take
about.
it back.
Hey, unajua bro, nyama iko na do. I'm happy for you. Yeah.
Go do it.
Good for you.
Because you know that nonsense of going sijui to Dago at 4 a.m. Sijui get a kabut. I did all that. I'm like, it doesn't matter how this thing is paying me, how much. I'm just not interested.
OhKay.
But only the experience could teach me that. You see now, if I didn't do my best, if I had like a guy who goes to get for me nyama, I'd probably be here with like, you know, maybe actually that nyama thing, maybe I wasn't doing it right. But yeah, but the fact that you know, I throw myself into things like wholeheartedly, so that if it doesn't work, then I can sleep. I can sleep well. I can sleep well knowing I
gave it a
tried,
proper
I gave it
shot.
my all, did my best,
yeah.
and it didn't work.
Yeah.
All
So-
these things are things you just wake up and start doing. Like the nyama ulibai kabuti. Na ile-
No, I was
Like
curious.
You
I
start
was
getting the
curious.
tools.
I
Yeah.
was curious because of being in events business.
Yeah.
I always assumed people in the food business, especially around events, make a lot of money.
Okay.
What they don't tell you is the amount of work
That has
That
to
comes
go in.
along
that
with it.
comes with food business. Yo, shout out to, in fact, do that thing. Anybody who is doing food business at whatever level, kudos.
Yeah.
Because it's, so you can imagine if you're being told, say, for fusion, you have to be set up by 10. What time did that guy wake up?
Kupika, kufanya.
Not even kupika, ingredients.
nyanya.
The prep work.
The prep, just the prepping.
Yeah, it's a
And they
lot.
have to be fresh.
Then the
sourced every day.
logistics, vyombo,
Yeah, it's a
my
lot.
guy, it's a lot of work. But what they show you, hey, that guy for Nini is balling.
Truly.
You don't
He's
see the work that goes
balling.
behind it, yeah.
But most guys with food business, I don't even think they have time to spend their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's up, down. Truly.
But I experienced that.
Not for you.
So even if my best friend or someone I know gets into food business and they prosper,
Good for them.
I'll
Number
be
two, the work has been
genuinely,
happy for you.
truly happy for them.
Yeah.
But not something I'll feel like,
Nirudi ama.
not interested.
Just before we get into beekeeping, because also you've done like a lot of what most people would call soul searching. So where are you now with that? Because there's a time you're Buddhist.
I still am very
still
strong
are.
Buddhist.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a Buddhist doing his best.
So what is
No, I'm
Buddhism?
curious. Truly. But then I need to understand what is.
What do you grow up
break it down.
believing?
Yeah.
How do you end up?
So again, going back to my mom, you choose, make your own decisions. Yeah, choose what you want to be.
Algombia, there's Islam.
So no, it was not even a discussion of there's this and there's this. So thanks to my travel, I got to experience temples, Buddhist temples, and one thing that you'll realize that they're very serene spaces, beautiful experiences. So unlike Christianity, which is not a bad thing, Christianity with the church experience that someone is always telling you what to do, what you need to do. Buddhism encourages you to find out what you need to do. The power is within you. Yeah. So out of that experience, I started just out of curiosity, just going to the temples, interacting with monks, getting to learn from them. So one day I just went to, and I was having a conversation with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, what were you up to?" I was just telling about my day, really. I went to the temple. Temple. Tell me about that. What was that like? Yeah, so Mom, I've been going to the Buddhist temple. She's like, "Oh, wow. How is that? What's it like?" And she's like, "Do you like it?" I was like, "Yeah, I really enjoy it. I actually just take myself." She's like, "Okay. If it's something you ever want to pursue, then it's like..."
At what age are you at this point?
No, it's later.
Recently,
No,
okay.
like this is probably like so I've been going to the Buddhist temple for maybe like 12 years now.
Wow.
So maybe my third year into now. That time when I'd lost my job, KQ. Now that's when I started now, becoming now very active. So my mom, that's when now we talked about it.
Is Ernest here? Sorry, just a second. Anyone monitoring?
Mommy, are you okay?
Because sometimes it stops.
Yeah,
Are you
it's still
okay?
going. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just it's been just a journey of self-discovery. My mom gave me the freedom to just experience.
Wanna sit here now?
Being a child is so nice.
Yeah, I know. Vibes. Vibes and
Bado
inshallah.
hajajua pay ni nini. VAT,
Black tax.
tokens.
Yes.
Maybe
Sort
Sharon
her
can
food.
help.
There's food in the dining.
Okay, go get
So
it.
he'll sort you out with food. Yeah.
Oh, she's hungry.
Yeah, she's doing okay.
Kurubu also if you need anything. They'll sort you out. Yeah.
Yeah, so Buddhism is I don't know. Granted, it's a religion, but it's more of a way of life that focuses more on self and particularly on the mind, because everything starts and begins in the mind. Anything you've ever seen, anything that has ever been built, this microphone, this building started in the mind, and that's the power of the mind. You can create anything. You really can have the power to create anything. Even like now, the way Richard Branson is just doing that space tourism thing. It was just one day, maybe it was just something like, from the mind. So that's why it encourages a lot of meditation, a lot of looking inward. So like, for example, when now this is for me, when I pray, I don't necessarily ask for help. I ask myself, what thing am I doing that's preventing me from achieving what I need to achieve? Because God lives within all of us.
Yeah.
You really have the power to do whatever. And while prayer is you telling God, but think about how much knowledge you have. So you're asking God based on a very limited
Mindset.
spectrum of knowledge, because when you realize how little you know, you realize you actually know nothing. While meditation is now listening to God. Yeah, so that's the difference.
Oh.
That's deep. I'll go cram it word for word.
Flavor.
Isn't it
Yeah,
the same
so
as a
it's-
first date?
So it's more of just listening to yourself, listening, just listening. It's not like, you know, people have a very weird concept about meditation. They're like, how do you blank your mind? You can never
But it's
blank
true.
your mind.
I wouldn't say it's weird, but it's strange if you think about it, like how.
You can't blank your mind. Your mind will always have thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just recognizing them purely as that, just as a thought. A lot of times we have thoughts that we now really, I'm stupid. Yeah. You know, but when you just recognize it purely as a thought, you don't you don't have to. If it's a good thought, you can build on it. So you learn to build on good thoughts, not necessarily negative ones. So it helps with time, and that's what I love about Buddhism. It's also not monotheist in the sense that. You can be a Christian and still a Buddhist. You can, yeah. It's more of a way of life. There's no like.
If you believe this, you have to.
This is it. This is the only.
Okay.
So even a lot of times when you interact with monks, they throw back the question at you, like, "What do you think you need to do?" What? Yeah, it's
like my
like
therapist.
figure it out yourself. Yeah.
Wow.
Do they have a book? Do they have a Bible, a Quran?
So there's a set of the holy books.
Okay.
It's not just one book. There are many. Yeah, but one book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have commandments?
Not necessarily. I've not necessarily read it. Yeah, there are commandments. But not like not
kill,
commandments.
do not steal.
It's more of
Instead of do not kill, it's
guidelines.
Do you think you
More
should
like
kill?
no. Now there are things that are just wrong. It doesn't matter. Like stealing will never be right. Yeah. Stealing, whatever the context, stealing will never be right. Killing will never be right. But it's. I like that it more of challenges you to figure it out. It's more of you have to do the inner work. Yeah, do the inner work.
So let's get into beekeeping. So when do you pick? So when does beekeeping become a thing for you? Because I think if I remember correctly, should be around COVID.
It was actually COVID. So during COVID, so before COVID, remember all my jobs at the time have one core component. Crowds. Yeah. People have to meet for me to make money. Yeah. Either it's a corporate MC job, either it's BYYS, either it's, but people have to gather. Yeah. Yeah. Either it's an event.
Kirende lazima.
It must. Now, when the one thing COVID took away was that kirende. So I found myself in a situation where all my income streams were just bloop. So things got tough very quickly. Like things went out so fast. So one day, in the middle of the night, I was just sleeping, and I had this dream. And I have to say this. I always put this disclaimer because it's the honest truth. It wasn't like a glorious dream. It wasn't like Moses. It wasn't like clouds parting, an angel appearing. No, it was none of that. Yeah. The reason I'm saying this is because ideas can come from anywhere. So in my dream, a bee appeared to me. And it said, don't worry. If you take care of us, we'll take care of you. And it flew away. So in the morning, I was like, asali kona do. Asali kona do. So I went onto a WhatsApp group with my friends, like, hey guys, things are tough. Who can lend me some money? So one of my friends M-PESA'd me 12K. I went, bought honey, repackaged and sold. That day I went home with 40K.
Wow.
What? I was like, this is it. This is it. So I started selling honey. Hey, you guys, I was in this Nairobi. Hawking, asali, and then, it has to be before curfew.
And at
Hey,
this time,
on my
do you have
Ngiigi.
the brand? Is it there?
Nothing.
There's no logo, no
just-
nothing.
No, in fact, it was a sticker. I used to write for guys a message. Hang in there, don't worry. Things will be fine. You remember?
Go to Apple.
Oh, damn. I
But
forgot
now-
about the stickers.
But now guys started asking me a lot of questions. Hey, hii asali ni ya wapi?
Unatoa wapi?
Hii
Of course.
hii asali dark inamaanisha nini? I'm like, wait. You actually know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I had to go back now to school. I went to the Beekeeping Institute. But now when I learned about bees, the bee became more interesting.
Okay.
And
Than
through-
just selling the honey.
yeah, it was now more. So now that I started getting into beehives, working with farmers, and people. It turned out that this beekeeping knowledge was not common sense. Most people assume a lot about bees. So now that I just fell in love with bees, and that became a passion. And for sure, they've taken care of me. Yeah, they've taken good care of me. Taken me to places I never imagined possible. Yani, I've traveled this country. I went to Lamu for the first time because of bees.
Wow.
I've worked for the first family because of bees.
Bees.
Yeah, it's just the doors that.
The first family, how did they pay you in cash, of course?
No, let's not talk about that.
Brown
But-
bag.
no. It's nothing like that. But also, bees have taught me one thing, and they know have worked with me, and they know this.
Same here.
It's not. Hey, I'll tell you about Chaxy's bees.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Hey,
so let's talk about it.
We'll come back to hey.
We'll be right back.
Where? But what beekeeping has taught me, it's not about how hard you work.
Yeah.
In fact, hard work for me has a very negative connotation. In fact, I even tell my kids, don't work hard. Don't. That's like slavery. Do not work hard.
It's okay.
The secret to life is work joyfully. Be happy to do the work. Just be happy. Like, even with beekeeping, a lot of times we are waking up at 4 a.m., but I do it joyfully. And now that pays. Somehow, you enjoy your job. Have you ever seen, have you ever been to at the pub? The guy who does the drinks, you just see the guy is just happy to have people.
Yeah.
Just like, my G, how are you? It's good to see you. Hey, enjoy, you guys. You just want, there's others.
Untaka nini? Long Island.
Yeah.
You shift ish. My emotions. Somehow you're just always happy to be around someone who's working joyfully.
Really?
And they are so pleasant to watch and even just experience working with them. So that's what now I encourage. It's something I preach to everyone. If your job does not make you happy, by then reconsider.
And you're the right person to say that.
Reconsider. Because for you to be here on a Sunday, it means you're enjoying it.
True.
To be here every Sunday for 2 years.
I could be at Excess Millionaires
But-
every Sunday.
But
Sunday.
We are here.
But
think about it, what that has done for you.
Yeah.
Working joyfully and working joyfully consistently is the secret to happiness. Because, again, if you do not make the money, you had a great experience. Yeah, so it's either or. You'll either, even if you work joyfully and you don't make the money, but it always something that
There's a fulfillment.
within you,
really.
there is just another level of fulfillment that you can't even quantify it in terms of cash. Like you just really, and people will just somehow, our business has grown literally from scratch. We've built it from the ground
That's
up.
OhKay Honey.
Yeah, that's OhKay Honey. So basically what OhKay Honey Market does, so my main customer in the business is the bee. And the only way I realize this is that if the farmer is thriving and the consumer is educated, then the bee will thrive. So people have told me, a lot of people have told me, I was at Java, a bee came, but thanks to you, I didn't teach a doom or swat it. I just put, and that gives me happiness. It gives me fulfillment. So I'm not saying that I don't want to be paid. I love being paid. But our job really is to support anyone on the value chain. So anybody who's doing anything around beekeeping, I tell my people, we have no competition. We only have partners in this business. We have partners. So right now we've built an amazing bee house in Makueni. It's solar powered for somebody who naturally would look at as our competition. But no, if they thrive, I also thrive. And that's one thing I've learned from bees. Bees do nothing for self. It's all about the colony. Yeah, it's all about the colony. A bee will not go Kulai India and then come back. Hey, things were tough. No, they all bring back the food to the colony. When a bee is born, it already knows what it needs to do. There are some bees in the hive that are cleaning, some are guarding, the queen is busy laying eggs. Everybody has a duty, but it's not for benefit of self. It's for benefit of the colony. That's why even when they move as a farmer. Yeah, a bee will not come one, mpaka kujai. Apana. They'll have a discussion. Guys, this place is not good. We need a new place. Hey, where do we go? Hey, I found a place in this direction. They discuss. They have, and then they're like, okay, let's move. And that's how they move.
They have like a small WhatsApp group.
They communicate. They communicate through pheromones and through dancing as well. Yeah. So that's one thing I've learned.
Yeah.
For me, anybody in beekeeping is somebody I really want to thrive. Because what I've noticed is that when a farmer acquires a beehive, the most natural progression after that, and it's something I saw in Nyahururu where I did my first practical beekeeping. I gave a farmer a beehive, and the very next day I saw him carrying a tree seedling. Ooh. Yeah, it's natural. You don't even have to ask them. Yeah, and that's why I believe in beekeeping. Bees have the ability and the capacity to change our lives completely, but you must have them in mind whenever because bees affect food security, nutrition, finances. Like honey doesn't haribika. It does not need refrigeration. So a lot of farmers, when they discover beekeeping, you don't need pesticides. You just need to check the beehives once a month.
Wow.
So most farmers are like, the price of it's easier. It's not easy work. Beekeeping is hard work. But I can't compare it to growing warus, which I've also done and failed terribly. Terribly. Hey, bro.
You moved to Nyandara at some point.
Nyahururu, yeah. My friend, I lost so much money growing warus. I can never go back to growing warus. Or growing anything. Not my thing. It's just not my thing. So so bees, and then you get to learn they have personalities. Each colony has a different personality. They literally make the world go round. Did you guys know that without bees, all humans would be extinct in 4 years?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because a third of all our food is thanks to bees. It's as a result of pollination. So every third spoon of food you eat. In fact, when I train farmers, I tell them, when you're eating, you have to do 1, 2, then the third one, you say, Asante Nyuki. Yeah.
You have to do that.
Because literally, it's thanks to them. Thanks to them. When you eat, just know, when you look at your plate of food, just know bees have a lot to do with this.
Wow.
So they literally hold our life in. Yeah, so that's why we need to. This message is so important for people to learn. Pesticides are affecting us. Bee populations, like in the West, it's a huge problem now. And some of
Kenya or the West of
no, in the Western countries,
countries.
they've used so much pesticides and a lot of them that are banned there are still legal here.
Yeah.
So you find, like in California, one of the biggest earners for beekeepers is not even the honey; it's pollination services. Literally, you pay someone like me to bring my truck of bees. I park on your farm, and then I charge you per hive per day.
Wow, what?
That's how much pesticides it's a problem. Almond farmers are struggling. They have to pay farmers to bring their beehives to the farms so that their farms get pollinated. It's really, so that's why I preach this message of beekeeping. When a farmer has beehives on their farm, then they reconsider. They treat their farms differently. So we support everyone on the value chain. We do events around beekeeping. We empower farmers through training and helping them to get the right equipment. We do installations. We work with large-scale farmers to help them increase their yield. We did some research with some guys in Calro, and we found that farmers this was research done by Calro around macadamia, and they found that farmers who had beehives on their macadamia farms had a 70% increase in yield. So if you have 2 farms, exact same size, this guy is getting 100 bags, and then this one has beehives, they'll get 170 bags. And so it's a direct relationship. So yeah, so that's why I'm so passionate about bees. And they have opened such wonderful doors for me.
Yeah.
I learned so much about them. Show up for your people. Bees, like for the colony. Chokoza anybody else, but not our
Not
colony.
me.
Is it true that they're very vengeful? If I kill one, they'll come like a
boss.
couple of them.
A bee that's over here has no issue with you. But you try go to the hive, where their kids are, where now the colony is.
Like the home.
Yeah, even like for you guys, like this is your colony. Show up for each other, put in the work, because everybody's putting in the work. Show up for your people. If someone is going through an issue, show up for them. Try it. See what it does for this. Yeah.
Be on time.
Yeah.
Take a shower.
So
My shower got messed up once.
but also another thing I've learned is also take time to rest. Because bees at night, they sleep. They go back to the hive, they sleep. They wake up in the morning and go to work. Yeah, so it's
They
that.
have
Do they ever retire?
They have that.
They just die out of...
They just die.
Bees live like how many? 12 days?
No, 40 days.
40 days.
Yeah, and it takes 12 bees, 12 worker bees, their entire life to make 1 teaspoon of honey.
What?
Yes.
Which is just
So you can imagine when you have a kilo, how many worker bees have been involved.
Wow.
So you can imagine.
Yeah.
So now, let me tell you about Chaxy's bees. Whoa.
Ah, man.
Or lack thereof.
So earlier in my career, Chaxy called me like, hey, bro, I see what you're doing. I think I want to try this thing. So we put some beehives up in Kilimambogo.
On the mountain.
On the mountain. This guy, his bees are crazy. Because bees are not aggressive, they are defensive. Usually there are some beehives we can open even without a suit and they're just there. Those ones, they smell you from Uko.
Those ones that stung Tafari's face.
Wet.
Whoa.
Those bees are crazy aggressive.
They chomoka. The whole hive. You can't even see the hive. You have to put that video somewhere.
I have the video somewhere.
And it's
No.
Yani you chomoka, you try to smoke them, nothing. You guys, you walk a mile away. You walk a mile away. You're still in your bee suit 40 minutes later.
Because they're all around you.
Hey,
Because of the honey, yeah. You
do
smell
not choke us. Never come back here. Hey, bro. You guys.
Coming from the man who doesn't
We were
fear.
in bee suits and we were being stung.
Inside the suits.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know, even the first time we went to do maintenance on the hives, we couldn't even go beyond the first hive. Open the first hive and we went cooked it.
Like,
Too much, bro. Yeah.
Another. But when you see that, it means they have a lot of honey and very good honey.
Wow.
Yeah. But
You know the wildest thing, bro? Like, there used to be a mzee who used to guard that bomber. And he'd harvest those bees without any clothes. He'd go usiku too.
Yeah.
At night, I'm like, how does he do it, bro?
No, there are guys who have... What I'm learning is that there are people who have special relationships with... We experienced a guy who talks to bees.
What?
Yeah. This guy in Makweni. Interesting guy. Now this guy, if you see him, he looks homeless. His clothes are torn. He's a guy, he doesn't even have a phone number. You tumana to the junction in Tao.
To ask for him.
Fanya hivi, enda pale junction, ambia mutuko akuje. Now this guy comes, he will go to the beehive, to the door, and it's mchana. And he'll tell him, na usisumbue hawa wangeni wangu sawa. Kujeni, wako sawa, kujeni mupige picha.
For real.
You guys, you can go to the hive, you can even put your face on the door like this.
And nothing
And
happens.
none will sting you. The witnesses are here. We have it on camera.
I'm telling you, that shit is weird, bro. Because even this mzee, he'd just chill. He'd see us do the most, bro. Kwanza he'd go, bro, like he'd not wear any clothes.
Yeah, even
He'd
I've
just
harvested
go
with
naked.
You mean
with
not
some...
wear any clothes?
Okay, like just-
The bee suits.
No b-suit,
Like
no
no-
t-shirt.
No
The
t-shirt,
kwanza,
yeah.
no t-shirt.
Even like
What?
some Masais have
It's
worked
like
with.
a ritual. Even
In
the guys on
Kajiado.
the side, yeah.
You are buying the bisuit, a guy is chomaing his shuka. He's like,
Yeah.
unajua ukikuwa na nini,
Mingi
ziko na
ziko
pali
ama.
pa kushika, lakini ukiwa na ngozi zina slide.
What?
Like,
This is
bro.
how we do that, bro. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but it's true. There are guys, but I think there's people who just have special relationships
Yeah.
with nature,
animals,
and it's
yeah,
something
with
I
nature, yeah.
honestly really aspire to. I learned so much from traditional beekeepers. So the thing with traditional beekeeping is that it had a lot to do with the relationship with the insect. While modern beekeeping is purely about input and output. How much can we get? Now, for you to be a great beekeeper, You must be hapo katikati.
Really?
Because traditionally, honey was needed during certain ceremonies. You know, boys have been circumcised. Now we need honey for morats. A child has been born. We need to celebrate.
So there's champagne.
Somebody's unwell.
Yeah.
Somebody's unwell. So it wasn't like they were harvesting like for commercial purposes. It was more of its place in society.
Yeah.
But while modern beekeeping is very different. So if you can find a good
Balance,
balance
yeah.
between both, then you'll make a great
How
beekeeper.
come we like 8? Because I read online that 80% of the honey we consume in Kenya is imported.
Yeah.
I mean, so if for living through your Instagram, it feels like there's a lot of beekeepers in the country because you're always moving around, and so it feels like we're making a lot of honey. But 80 is such a high
Yeah,
percentage.
yeah.
80.
All our honey, most of our honey is imported. Now, I think there's just not been there's a lot of factors.
Okay.
Training is one factor. Most people, granted, have beehives, but are not necessarily trained. There's a lot of traditional beekeepers. We've also found that a huge percentage, I dare say, and this is my personal statistic, that 90-something% of beehives are donated. Modern beehives, not traditional. Modern beehives are donated. So an NGO came, they're like, give them beehives. Dumped beehives with people, with the logo there, took photos, and guys left. So the guys have the hives, but they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
So now that's one of the things we do. We empower farmers through training. We get communities together, we teach them about bees, because beekeeping is not something you can do alone.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it alone, and I learned this again in Nyahururu, very early in my beekeeping career, I was there nganganaing with a beehive, and then I just my kitchen, and the guy next door is just working dawas. I'm like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
So it was easier for me to empower him as well, because that way, so when we train farmers, we always tell them, bring the community, bring community members, involve everyone. So so it's one thing where we have crazy potential when it comes to beekeeping, and there's enough for everybody. Right now, we're only supplying about, as a country, we're only meeting between 15 and 20% of our demand. 80% is imported.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
We import a lot of food. And I think I read in the, was it the Kenya Kwanza manifesto? The first agenda on the manifesto is agriculture. And one of the things they said that last year alone, I think import of food grew by 18%. But think about it, it's crazy for a country that also grows food
A lot.
to export.
Yeah.
And you're having this conversation in the morning.
Yeah, like people are hungry, but we have food
Food
to
to take out, then
to
bring
take
it
out.
back in.
And then even
Makes no
what people
sense.
consume is what we call rejects. You know, I don't know.
Makes no
It's
sense,
something.
honestly.
It's something we have to talk about, and you can't talk about food security without talking about bees.
Yeah.
They are a huge part of that conversation, and that's what now basically we do. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Question, and it might be silly. Where do you get bees?
It's
It's true. No, if I tell you,
That's
set for
actually
me,
a very
set,
People
valid
ask this question
question.
all the
yeah,
time.
set for me a hive here.
Bees are everywhere.
Someone-
Bees are everywhere. Everywhere.
Valid.
So Mangi thinks bees ziko mahali zinachill.
Ah,
Bees ziko kwa-
I
Everywhere.
know, of course, you get a queen, and then the colony comes.
No,
Why you
Ama-
get- the
bro.
queen is super protected. Why are you gonna get the queen, bro?
You
Down.
just install a beehive. So what we do is that we use wax, which it's a bee product, but also
Lemongrass?
we use lemongrass because the queen bee smells like lemongrass.
Wow.
So when you set up a beehive, you set up an empty box. What you're really trying to do is to get, so some worker bees are what we call scout bees.
Oh,
They are scouting for location. And that's why I said earlier that they will come to your hive
Yeah.
and they're like, wow, these are dope.
these are nice
place.
digs.
Then they will go back to the colony,
Tell the
And
peeps.
say-
Let's
tell the peeps, hey, you guy,
Mepata base. Pack
Wachana-
towers.
wachana
Tuame.
this pack everything,
Packed showers.
tunaenda. Yeah, and
Or
that's-
bedroom na
so
SQ.
you could literally put a beehive here today
Spacious, yeah.
and come tomorrow and find
It
that
is full.
bees have moved.
Have you
in.
ever set
Wow.
up a beehive and no one came?
It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But in such situations now, you can actually move the bees into the hive. There's a way we do it. So what we do is you can either take a hive that's full and you do what we call a colony split. So you split the colony in half. But then there are things you have to look out for. So you have to take combs that have eggs, some have larvae, some combs have to have honey. So basically the things that they need.
Okay.
Yeah. So the babies, some babies, what we call brood. Then now you put those 5 or 6 we call them frames, into the new hive. And that colony now will continue from there.
So the question would be, in that case, because they need the queen, so they form a new queen?
Yes.
Because now the other queen remains in the other hive.
Yeah. They would just form their own queen. So what they do is they start feeding a particular egg for a worker bee, a special diet called royal jelly. And that eventually now will emerge as
The queen bee.
As a queen bee.
So the queen, all the queen does is lay eggs.
Yeah.
And just chill.
But it's more than that because she also gives the colony their personality. So like your crazy bees.
Yeah, the queen is wild.
The queen is crazy.
A proper Nairobi babe.
She's wilding, yeah.
So the queen for my crazy Nini is Mama Lucy.
Hey, Barasa.
Mama Twitter is running Mama Lucy.
So basically how it works is that so in every colony there's 3 bees.
Yeah.
There's the queen who lives the longest. She lives
long?
between 3 to 5 years.
Imagine, and these other guys
Then
live
there's
40
the
days.
40 days
worker
to go.
bees who live 40 days. Now the queen, her primary job is to lay eggs. She has to lay between 1,500 to 2,000 eggs every day,
Huh?
Where
daily.
are these eggs coming from?
Who's fertilizing her?
Good question. I'll come to that. Then
They are
Hey,
fat.
there's the third
basi
one.
queen anadinyana sana.
Aye.
No, surprisingly no. Surprisingly no. So what happens is that when the queen is born, I think it's second or third day. I don't know exactly when. She does what we call a mating flight. So she will go out and mate with a couple of drones from another colony. Now drones are the male bees, and then she will store those eggs in her body. So when she goes back to the colony, now those are the eggs she'll be laying.
For all those years.
Yeah, if she fertilizes,
So she fucks
She
once.
smashes once and that's it.
yeah,
Smashes one
Yeah.
for 2 years and just lays eggs, 2,000 eggs every day.
for 5 years.
Sounds
Talk
like
of
a baby
fertility.
girl.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Now here's the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
See, now she has an organ called the spermatheca. That's where she stores the
Who comes
the
up with this
sperms.
name?
Yes, Pamathika, yeah, okay.
So what happens is that when she's laying eggs, depending on the need, if she needs more worker bees, she will fertilize the eggs before she lays them. If they need drones, she won't fertilize. So that now that egg will emerge as a drone.
So what do drones do?
They are
Now,
fucker bees.
I
Basically.
thought you'd never ask.
Chaxy are like, are they packing?
Now, the role of male
They're definitely
bees,
packing.
the drone, is purely just to mate. But they also help with cooling temperatures in the hive when things are hot, like the fanning of the wings. But their most important role is mating with a queen from another colony. So they are really kept men. Because they don't
Chaxys of the colony.
yeah,
Got it.
they don't do anything in
Got
that
it.
particular colony.
They don't help with food, cleaning.
Yeah. And when they mate, they die.
Oh,
Same way like when a bee stings you, it dies.
yes.
Yeah,
Wait.
bees have no fear of death.
So these guys, their entire lives is just to fuck.
They wait.
Yeah.
And then they fuck and die.
Yeah.
Like it's so nice.
We always make a joke that they come and go.
Yeah.
They come and go.
Wow.
Yeah, they come and go.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so everything. A lot of times people preach that they do nothing, but they are very essential in the growth of
But it's
colonies.
Without them, they're not bees.
So everyone
But it's
has
true,
a
they
very
do
important.
nothing.
So everyone has a very important role within the colony. So
Yeah.
the worker bees who are also female are the ones that take care of the babies. They feed the babies. They have what we call mandibular glands, which make the wax combs, the combs. Then they also make the honey. They protect the colony.
Basically do everything.
Sorry, we got another power failure. So you were literally describing to us how worker bees are the modern day slaves. Like literally do everything.
They do everything.
But
they do everything.
They do everything, never get laid.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So worker bees are infertile females, and the queen is a fertile female. Yeah.
Then the drones how long do drones live?
60 days.
Drones live longer, bro.
See, they're not in labor.
Never lazima. Aye.
Zinavutishwa. Kukaliana, kuzalisha.
About 60 days. But the one thing about bees is how organized as a society that they really are. Yeah, and everyone has a role to play, not for personal benefit, but for the benefit of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we finish, I'm gonna go through some facts about honey and bees,
Okay.
and then whatever comes to mind. Oh, so the first one is the which you've answered: queen workers and drones. So royal jelly.
Wait, are we all supposed
Yes.
to answer or it's just him?
If you know, if you have,
I'm happy to be on the podium. I just it's fine.
Number 1, 2, and 3.
So you spoke about royal jelly, and this is what the queen is fed, right?
Yes.
And this is maybe what makes the difference. Because I remember when we went to the hives in Kilimambogo, you showed us what the queen looks like, and the queen is significantly bigger in size. Like you can literally tell, oh shit, that's the
That's
queen.
the one.
Yeah. So royal jelly. How much of this royal jelly do bees make? And if I took royal jelly every day, would it make a difference in my life?
Huge difference.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all bee products, all bee products are made from, are made by worker bees. So royal jelly is one of those products. So there is honey, there's a comb which we turn into wax, which you can make candles, soap, lotion, and all that. Then there's what we call propolis.
I use propolis.
You use propolis. It's one of the best immunity boosters. So basically what it is from tree resins, the stuff that comes from the bark, the worker bees will collect that and use that to make, like if there's a crack in the hive somewhere that it's ingizaing baridi, they'll use that to make like a plaster.
Wow.
And seal those corners. So now that's propolis.
Nice.
So as a beekeeper, luckily you have access to it. You can just scrap it and chew on it. It's very bitter. It's very bitter.
Because there's one, mine is in drop form, so you have to put it behind your tongue.
Under the tongue.
Yeah, it's nasty.
But it's so good for you. It's because it gets absorbed into your system very quickly. So that it's very healthy. So the other product that they make is royal jelly.
Is this available?
Yeah.
In quantity?
Yeah. Royal jelly is one of the most expensive bee products because you find it in very small quantities. So it's used two-way. That's, I think, the eggs at the brood stage, they are fed royal jelly, I think, day 2. But that's what the queen is fed on every day. So what happens is that it is believed to have effects on, or they can prolong life. It reduces the breakage of collagen on the skin, so you stay younger for longer.
Wow.
Pharrell, we know the
Yeah.
secret, Pharrell.
Yeah. Even the Queen of England is believed that she used to consume a lot of royal jelly.
Yeah. Do you sell it at OhKay Honey?
At the moment, no, because also you get such small quantities.
Yeah.
It's
How
very,
expensive is it? I'm
most
curious.
farmers, like one, you can get them like in tablet form, and a chupa like this, like 5-6 Gs.
Damn.
8 Gs, yeah.
That's just a couple of tablets.
Yeah, it's just a couple of tablets.
If you ever harvest it, can you sell it to me?
So now what happens with local farmers, because also now it's in the cells for the very, very young toys. And remember, traditional farmers, really from a traditional beehive, they just scatter the whole comb and then they chew on that. So part of the royal jelly is in there as well.
The comb.
So one thing you'll experience is that with beekeepers, you've seen that thing of beekeepers are believed to have the longest life expectancy.
No.
You find an old guy, but when you see him, you can't think he's an old guy. It's until you're told even that Mutuko guy, remember? He's a very young looking guy, but when you really, he's not a young guy. Yeah, so that's believed to be one of the reasons. Yeah, so royal jelly. Then there's also venom. It's also one of the most expensive bee products.
Venom.
Yeah.
From the stings.
From the sting. So bee stings are very healthy, unless you're allergic.
Zinaweza niuma lakini nisifure.
Lakini ufure, I've been stung by
Yeah.
before.
If now that's one way you know you're not allergic.
You're still here.
You're still here. So bee venom is used to make like EpiPens.
Oh.
So you know when people who are allergic are stung by a bee, when you take them to hospital, that kapen dungwa there, that is made from bee venom. Same thing like with snake venom. Someone who's bitten by a snake, the dawa is but venom can be collected. It's very expensive because you get such small quantities. There's a cupboard we put on it literally looks like this tub. You put on the beehive and it's battery powered. So I think they get like a kashok and they release the venom without necessarily dying. Because how the bees die when they sting you is because the sting is barbed, like a barbed wire. Yeah. So when it stings, it pierces your skin.
Yeah.
When it tries to chomoa it rips
stuck.
the inside.
Yeah.
So it chomokas with everything on the inside. So that's how they die. But now on this solar panel looking thing, you see it's glass. So it will try to sting, but it will release the venom without necessarily.
Getting
Yeah,
harmed.
yeah.
Interesting.
So you collect it's such small quantities. So that's why it's expensive. So that can either be mixed with the honey, and you sell it as venom honey, or it can be sold like
In itself.
yeah. Last time I checked, it was like very pricey, like 4 Gs a gram or something like that. But also, again, you're talking very small quantities. But-
you'll have to grab the mic on us. Possibly hear something.
But I advise people do not get into beekeeping saying that I want to start with royal jelly, I want to start with venom. No. The most important thing is first to build a relationship with the bees, to get yourself absolutely 100% comfortable around bees. These guys will tell you it takes a while to get, like now, you know, when a bee comes, I'm always happy, like, oh, wow, thank you. But you know, naturally, your instinct is to,
Me.
So it takes a while.
Me, even when in Kilimambogo, me, honestly, I don't go to the hives. I'll be very honest. I let Jason and Tafari go.
And then when they come back, you're like, that's why I didn't go.
Exactly. So it takes a while. It takes a while to be. There's a lot of opportunities around beekeeping. Like now, there's a guy in Muranga who's doing bee sting. He has a clinic, but they do bee sting therapy. So bee stings are actually very good for people with arthritis. Yeah.
They just bring a bee to your knee. It stings you.
And then they let it sting you. So they do that over a couple of, and people have shown that, you know, it works.
Wow.
So to my list of doing psychedelic drugs, I'm gonna add these things.
You'll be
And
so
then
healthy.
Then we can do a ceremony. Can we do a ceremony around
Yeah.
full moon?
Dance.
Percussions. Get stung by bees.
Stuff like that, yeah. So I actually really appreciate bee stings now.
And then we make sure we have our jelly, even if it's
Huh?
Still count. How many have you gotten so far?
No, every day. It's a very normal thing.
Every day you
But
get stung.
most of the time, there's no day you'll go to a beehive and not be stung. It's very rare. It's very rare. And also for me, I think it's a form of love. You know? But once you get over the...
This is the same love.
Once you get over the... Because honestly, since I started beekeeping, I rarely, and I thank God for this, and I touch wood. Hamuna mbao huku.
Unasema you touch wood, I was like, when?
I have not gotten... I don't get sick.
No way.
Rarely. Like even homers and stuff.
The
it's very
secret
rare.
is to touch wood.
You see also like, for example,
Your own
it is believed that bee stings actually like sort of shock your immunity system.
Oh, so you're more alert.
So jump starting, yeah.
So ni umwena nyuki kila siku.
But then you'll be so healthy, you'll be so surprised. You'll be so surprised.
Wacha nikuye propolis pole.
Deno, you had a question.
So, Deno, you had something.
What do you mean?
No. I get what you mean. The solar panel. No, that panel looking thing. No, remember you're only putting it. It's not that inakwagapo throughout.
Yeah.
No, it's only for a short period. Say for like a day, then you remove it. No, it doesn't mean that. But you know what pains you is not the actual venom. The venom could react. That's what maybe makes you fura. But the sting is it's from the thing piercing your skin. Yeah, that's where the pain comes from. Yeah.
Is it true that you can use onions to ease the pain?
I've never
Pass the
tried.
mic.
Honey?
It has to go around now.
I don't know. I just leave it like that.
No, you just leave it like
I
that.
just leave it. I just
But
leave
you
it.
get stung every day. Like
Yeah, so you get used to it. Yeah.
bee.
Okay. Yeah. So the thing I tell beekeepers or anybody interested in getting into the business is answer your why. Why do you want to keep bees? Because you find some people, and we have a lot of customers like this, they just come because they have had honey as money. And the guy wants to put how many beehives. It's very important that you ease yourself into it.
Okay.
Even Chaxy started with 5 beehives. Not guys who come at you and say, hey, namesikia kitu iko na pesa, and they put 100 hives. Most of those usually don't survive unless you're willing to pay someone like me to come and check on your hives every month.
Every month.
But
You need monthly checkups
they
for
have to
hives,
be checked every month. So it's a good thing. Answer your why. If it's just for hobby, start with maybe 2 hives. Yeah, maybe one. Also Kenya has a very good history in terms of beekeeping. There's a beehive that was invented in Kenya, and it's actually my personal favorite beehive. It's called the Kenya Top Bar Hive. We call it a KTBH. It's a very nice hive. Can give you nice combed honey. You've seen combed honey, like in the supermarket when you buy the actual comb. That sells for double the price of normal honey.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, start with a few hives. Because also there are people who put hives and then they realize, this thing, it's honestly, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
In that,
I'm happy to do that.
Do you actually sell?
Yeah, we sell
the
beehives,
tools
we
and
sell the
things
tools
in
and
it?
everything. We'll help you.
how
We'll
much
set you
does
up.
someone need to get started if you already have the land?
Now, what I tell people is for budgeting purposes, from my experience, that cost comes to about 10K per hive.
Okay.
But not, a lot of people do the hesabu for the hive, the box. They forget there's labor, there's kokoto, there's the stand. So usually if you budget at around 10K per hive, and when I say that, I mean the full setup.
Yeah.
It means the stand, that's a hive on a stand, like properly set up.
But
The
10K
figure,
belongs to-
the figure
'cause
comes
how
to
much was
plus.
the hive itself. How much do we get the hive?
The hive itself is 6K if
hive
it's a
is
Langstroth.
6K.
If it's a Langstroth.
Yeah.
So the figure actually works out to about 10K per hive.
Okay.
This is for planning purposes. I'm not saying it will be exactly.
10.
Yeah.
If you're doing 10 hives,
11
could be
90.
100K, but it could also be 80.
variety.
Because now also a lot of factors come into play. Your location, because, a guy who's in Kilimambogo, anywhere.
Bees are everywhere.
Bees are everywhere.
Okay.
We just have different species of bees in different parts of the country. So there's a savanna bee, which is called the Apis mellifera, which is the name for a bee. Scientific name for bees is Apis mellifera. We have scutellata, which is the savanna bee. We have Litorea, which is the coastal bee. Yemenitica or Nubica is the northern Kenya
Why
bee.
do you
Giving
know this
dichotomy.
But no, I mean not to go. The point is this: you can keep bees anywhere in this country, which makes it another thing. I don't understand why we're not doing it in the way that we should be doing it. But if you're doing it purely for hobby, you can actually, if it's purely for hobby, you can even get a glass hive or a flow hive. Ukaange tu hapo ukiziangalia. Ukiziangalia tu zikimekani, stuff like that. So there's a lot of
Glass hive.
So once you answer your why, then we can pick it up from there. Okay, I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to help.
So, lastly, how does someone reach out to you? Anyone who's maybe heard or will watch this and they're interested? Because you are open to go anywhere in this country, literally.
Anyone who is willing to start, first of all, also be willing to pay.
Truly.
Hakuna kazi ya bure.
No, I'll tell you this. There's some people who you find.
Yeah.
A guy has a shamba in Kakamega, and they want to negotiate heavily on transport or but that's not. I mean, that aside, they can reach us on @OhKay honey, KE. That's on all our socials. I'm sure you put them down here.
I put the
Put in the
Yeah,
description.
and then also I'll share the number. It's 0100 13 13 44.
0100.
No, it's 14 14 33. Sorry,
So say it.
0100 14 14 33.
Okay.
That's
That's the number they can
Easy
reach
to
out
remember,
to.
yeah.
All right, bro. This has been
My
so much
personal
fun,
socials
honest.
is @Jason without a Y.
Yeah.
Yes, Jason Runo.
Zero, no.
Yeah, not Runo.
Bro, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for
always
having me.
Honestly,
honoring us.
honestly,
invite.
I've learned so much.
honestly.
Now I see why you have a bee on your head.
It's a lot.
Maybe I still don't get it. That bit tattoo, I still do not get
Maybe
it.
that's
Get it eventually.
After ameanza kusema biological names.
Binomial nomenclature.
Which one do you have on your
Me,
face?
the one, what's the name of the ones you have in Kilimambogo? The very aggressive ones.
Those are scutellata.
Maandamano
Apis
bees.
mellifera.
No, what bees on your forehead?
This is it's a worker bee.
It's a worker bee.
It's
Oh,
a worker
yeah?
bee. Yeah.
Mimi nataka queen bee.
Me too.
Yeah,
Sure,
queen bee.
Do you have any other bee
I have
tattoos?
Yeah, I have a comb. I have
nice.
one on my chest with a
Damn,
sunflower.
you are committed to
Yeah, I'm
this.
like-
Love it.
I told you I don't do things half.
Papa.
And he just got a dream from a random bee after maybe using a substance.
Imagine. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the power of a thought and the world it can open you up to?
Truly,
Yeah,
that is
truly.
wild.
Like you find like sorry to digress.
No,
So I find like those guys in Japan, I don't know if you've heard about the katana sword. The katana sword, there's, I think, only like 5 guys who can make
I
them.
want one of them. It's so expensive.
And those guys, they start from taking iron ore, quarrive, like literally they go pick the ore, then now they go and start forging. But
And it takes
that guy,
months
by the
to
time
make.
he sells you a sword for $200,000.
sword kama samurai jack.
Sword,
Yeah.
yes.
The samurai one, yeah.
Damn.
Those things are expensive because the expertise. A guy has probably sat on that thing for long. Now the sword is made. Now they start the design work. Okay, yes. The guy will spend months working on one sword.
And then you take it back to be sharpened.
So you can imagine. So you can imagine just
Nairobi.
the power of
Because we are 2
like those
million.
guys who do sneakers, just
Yeah.
artwork on sneakers.
truly.
Like
Even-
this world is full of possibilities.
Yeah.
Like there's so much.
Even cars, the most expensive ones are the ones that every single element of the car is
Is
built by
detailed
someone.
to
Not
the core.
machine built.
Yeah.
And that's why there's always very few pieces of those, and they're
Yeah.
So in my old age, I
expensive.
want to make honey that, and if I tell a guy this is 15 G's a kilo,
They are truly.
you can't
Nilikanyaga
argue.
carpet
Yeah.
ya 140K on Friday.
Mbona sasa ulikanyaga?
See, okay, so I went to buy a carpet from this Persian place on Kembu Road. And this guy was so passionate about carpets.
Imagine
I
carpets.
stuck around for 30 minutes.
Listen,
He even closed the shop and took me to his showroom where he keeps the most expensive ones.
Oh wow.
And then he was like explaining to me how they all have signatures, they're handmade, they're whatever. And then he was like, Kanyaga, you ski? I'm like,
I feel different.
Ski, but
no. You actually
You feel it.
actually, I moved from buying a kawaida carpet. I bought a Persian carpet for my bedroom.
Barefoot?
Yeah?
Barefoot ama na viatu?
What do you mean barefoot?
Kanyaga.
Of course nilitoa viatu kuingia showroom.
Yeah.
Carpet 140K alafu niambia umechafua nunua.
You know another thing guys never ever think about. What year are we? 2024.
bro,
23. Oh,
you
sorry.
are truly living in the future.
Umepeleka maisha mbio mbali.
Man is working next year.
You know, Jason asked what year are we? Then I was concerned. Like, he genuinely not know. Then said 2024, I was like, yeah.
So we're in
Yeah.
2023. So
Too many things. Too many
18
things.
years. 18 years back is what year?
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
So imagine when you buy a whiskey that says 18 years. A guy in 2005,
Packaging it.
he started making that
Whiskey.
whiskey in 2005. Sahi ndio imeiva.
Okay.
So yani every day anaenda naangalia rangi, color, nini, hapa temperature is not right.
That's why it was
This
expensive.
thing needs to be twisted like this, pinduliwa like this. You
And
understand?
maybe
Like
the first batch
yeah,
akamwaga
and
akasema haijatokea.
that's the power. That's the power of commitment.
True.
This
And that's not a
carpet
job
guy-
you will just do
This
at
carpet guy talks to
Because
me
you
for
want
30
money.
minutes.
Yeah.
There has to be some
There has to be
passion.
something else. There has to be something else. And that's what I encourage young guys. Just, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a girl making shoelaces, do it joyfully and commit. You'll be so surprised. In 3 years, guys will be buying shoelaces from you for 10 G's a pair. Nobody else will
And no
understand.
one complains.
And no one complains.
And you'll still have
Yeah, so it's
customers.
just identify that thing, do it joyfully and passionately.
Yeah. But if I was a corrupt politician, I'd have bought that carpet. If I had the money, honestly.
Yeah.
Because this guy talked to me about, he told me Egyptian carpets, Persian carpets, Chinese, Pakistani, Taiwanese. He showed me carpets. And it's like, if you notice, the stitch here is different from here. I'm like, I'm a do a carpet upside down. He's going for another, and I had things to do. I just stayed there. So he talked about carpets, and he kept
passionate, yeah.
calling me my brother. And when I got home, he called me in the evening, and he asked me, how is the carpet
That's
in your
exactly
house?
why he was able to sell a more expensive carpet than you
Carpet.
were.
Absolutely anything in this
Salesman.
world can fit
Can be
you.
sold, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anything.
Made it
Unaweza
if I
anza
got a
passion
good
ya
carpet or a good
dingoingo
story.
na ukute. Uchikuta kwa mapanel tu na discuss madingoingo. So the dingoingo.
Oh my God.
Uko na mpaka rider list. For me to come speak on your panel, I need
I need still water from Mongolia. and sparkling water from
My
Yugoslavia. Chilled to 22 degrees.
Oh shit!
Madness.
I've told this guys this story before. But then there's 2017. I was at Kilifi New Year's December, and there's of course they were white. They had a bee temple, so they worship bees.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they speak so nicely about the bees. I felt so at home. In one of the nights, I got really high. Like, don't ask on what. And I ended up in the temple. I don't even know how I ended up in that temple. before I woke up in an ambulance. So it's just
History.
No, I actually believe in because I also thanks
And he
to
puked in the temple.
you've heard this thing about
unfortunately.
oh the temple. Oh my God, you've heard about this thing
May God
that
forgive me.
And he ran out of the ambulance.
the vibration.
Then out of
Aliamka kwa ambulance akauliza huku ni wapi akaambiwa ambulance.
Or saying it is believed that the vibration of bees, the bars of bees, is the vibration to the key of life.
what do you mean?
In terms of, everything in life is vibration. That vibration is a secret of life. So one thing I've done, and it has changed my life in some ways or another, is meditating on a beehive or where there are beehives. It's an unbelievable experience. There are even like beds. This is in Europe where you can go la on a bed. It's a house, but the bed on the so inside the house it looks like a sauna. It's just like a bench. But when you look at the house from the outside, it's actually beehives.
Or stacked to the side.
Yeah. So people just go there and la. And it does a lot of wellness it's a form of therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, but hapo koko worship
Yeah,
bees,
so-
they pushed
so-
kidogo.
so-
Hapo they
so-
pushed kidogo.
So, but no, if bees feed you, they take care of your nutrition, you're alive literally because of bees. Who does he worship?
Nah, nigga, I've never worshipped my employer. What do you mean? No, but I hear you. No, but it was honestly, it was a unique experience.
Wow.
Even just hearing them speak about bees so highly, and why they got the point that they got to was very eye opening.
That's
Like
my
it's
tribe,
nice.
man.
It's
That's my
nice.
tribe. That's my
Yeah, I
tribe.
wish I took a number.
Tutajaribu tena this year.
Hey,
Si tunaenda
Kama
Kilifi.
watakuwa, yeah. If they'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yo, dude, thank you so
But
much.
also
bro.
think about it. The bee, more than any other insect, is mentioned. I think in the Quran it's 65 times. In the Bible, all holy books, all
Mention the bee.
mention bees, not just once or twice, many times.
Truly.
But they also mention cows.
Think about it, but most of the time, whenever they used to be fed, it was honey and milk.
Yeah.
Even heaven,
Truly.
the only thing they'll give you is honey and milk. Remember?
Truly, it's rivers of honey and milk. That's actually true. Damn.
The bees will be busy. A river of honey. Fanya kazi.
Mimi bora tu nikuwe drone.
All thrones in heaven, that's for
Alafu sasa
sure.
ziko na eternal life.
Sasa zidedi.
Sasa zinakulana for life.
Oh, wow. Wowzers.
But thanks
Thank you
so much
so
for
much.
having.
That was
Thanks so
so
much for having me. Last time you invited me because you didn't have people. And that podcast of yours was struggling. Now here you guys are doing so well. Now here you've invited me and I'm like, people like in a BN have been here. I'm a celeb. And I'm like, okay, I'm on a podcast.
Yeah, just kidding.
Not just kidding.
Nani hana time? Nani ako free?
Who's in between careers?
Who's in between careers? So yeah, bro. I'm saying uko na co-host now.
Truly.
Uko na setup, uko na light.
Just kidding anyway, it was just kidding.
That was not just kidding. That was
It
just
wasn't
myself. It was
Catalan.
called in conversation. It was just myself.
No thanks. These are great honor.
Nafinya naangalia sound naona sound
Iko
iko sawa.
sawa, tuendelee.
Narudi camera on record.
Unajislate. Unafanya hivi alafu unaweka chini.
Mama used to clap. True
story.
True
Story. So, bro, it's so good to see how much you've grown.
Thank you.
But also, just thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
And also for having my daughter as well.
Yeah.
Nah, she's
No, she was amazing,
It's
bro.
been great.
Like
It's
really,
amazing.
like really amazing.
Yeah.
It's been great.
She had
It's
very
Next,
insightful
Asha Meme Kwanza. She'll definitely be a guest.
Oh, yeah.
And you should see her. She's an amazing beekeeper. Kina Deno have short content.
And honestly, if she really still likes being on camera, we could work on a kids show for her on the platform.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be fire.
Okay.
We could work on something for kids on the platform. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Oh,
We
nice.
call
I'm
it
game.
being Mahoa.
Being mama.
Yeah, we could do something, bro. For sure on the
Okay.
platform. Yeah, I'll produce it.
Love
Sure,
it.
promise.
I'll talk to her mom.
Super.
So, and her, if she consents.
And her,
Yeah.
of course. That one's given. Yeah.
She does like, I think she likes it.
But I think the best gift I can give my kids is what my mom gave me, the power of choice. Yeah, because even for her, she chooses her own clothes. Like I really let her choose
Just be
what.
her
Yeah,
person.
what she. Of course, there's some guidance.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to teach kids early to
So if you're going for a wedding and she chooses a onesie over a dress.
We'll discuss. I'll tell her, but sometimes she learns. Like those ones who were going somewhere and she had just gotten a new pair of gumboots. and she was excited. She's like, "But Daddy, I want to wear my gumboots." I was like, you know what? You win. You wear your gumboots. But in less than 30, 40 minutes of us leaving, she was like, "Hey, Daddy, I understand why you said to wear gumboots." That's a lesson she learned.
Yeah.
So of course they'll be guys. Yeah, so I'll tell her, "Hey, Mom, it will be hot. Everybody else will be looking nice." And she's like, "Okay. Maybe I need to wear a dress." Yeah.
Okay.
Superb.
But thanks, guys.
Thank you,
This
boss.
has
Really
been
Thank you so much
appreciate
for
it.
having
Thank you.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Episode 88, we are matching.
26. This is
The Burger Podcast.
This is the Brunch Club. Over 26.
Welcome back to
The mics are closed.
Now, when you watch it, you'll understand.